What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to the show and the roundtable tonight. And as you can see, we have a familiar face in the other Coach K. You all know him. But we got two new people, or newer, I should say. Jake is definitely new. Darion or Spotlight Sports. I haven't worked with him in a while, but it's good to get reconnected and work with you again, brother.
Man, it's been a long time,
I know.
and I'm happy to be back on. What's going on, man?
It's going well, dude. Jake, I've never worked with you, man. So introduce yourself to the crowd and tell them what you do on your channel there, boss.
Well, what's going on, everybody? As you know, Darian of the Spotlight Sports Network, of course, one of my favorite colleagues as well. This is your host from the hit show, The Snake Sports Talk Show, live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Been born and raised here all 25 years. I'm a diehard Charger fan. As you know, the hater down there knows all about that. I'm a diehard Vegas Golden Knight fan. It's the first hockey team that we have here. So, I rep them till the day I die. And, I'm an Oakland A's baseball fan and not really too particular of NBA, but I am a big-time players fan. Have certain players that I follow and just – love their style, love their pace of play. And so I cover everything. I cover NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL, all you can think of. And I weigh in on all my opinions. My platform itself, my channel is very, very balanced. So when it comes to opinions, there's always two sides to every story. But it's all about balancing, understanding each and everyone's opinions. And, hey, we all think outside the box in our channel.
Yeah, no, you do a good job of presenting both sides of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Vegas Vix in the house. What's up, Vegas Vix?
What's going on, Vegas Vix? What's going on?
Key in the house. What up, Key?
Key in the building. What's up?
Oh, look
All
at
right,
that.
guys,
Vegas
so-
Vix. Perfect.
Yeah.
We got the Spotlight Sports Network in the building. What's up, y'all? EJ, what's up, man?
So let's what up, EJ? Welcome to the channel, bruh. So let's jump right into it, guys. We had started talking about this off stream a little bit. We're going to start off with the NFL, and if you guys haven't heard, I'm sure you guys have seen it. There's been a significant number of players. I mean, we're not talking 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, or even 20. It's up to 72, and that's not even the latest count. That's as of July 10th. So, I mean, it just continues to go up in with the star power that is the NFL, and it's driven by, probably 25 to 30 top stars that people, those are the draw. Those 25 to 30 players are the big draw. And if we continue to see the rise in the cases, and let's say, Zeke already got it, like he's a big draw in Dallas there. And I mean, they say you can't really get it again, but who knows? I think if we continue to see the rise in numbers and just I don't know, I'll add this in there. The NFL seems the least organized out of all the major leagues with all of this stuff, and they've had probably the longest to get their crap together. And it seems like a rudderless ship. What do you think, Jake?
I totally agree with you with this. I mean, especially in today's world that we live in right now, there is an awful lot of uncertainty. We have no idea what else could happen in the span of days, weeks, possibly months, and this is just kind of something that is that's happening hour by hour. And so hearing the cases and, of course, the specific players who either do currently have it or some who have had it and have fully recovered. I mean, this is an experience that not just for the players, but even for fans, people in general. I mean, this is the kind of thing that, number one, it's a virus that we have no idea how to pinpoint and how to suppress it fully in order for us to get back to some sort of normalcy, so it doesn't feel like we ourselves live metaphorically in a divided world to where there's 6 feet of spacing, there's all this, there's all that. We don't completely feel like robots in our lives. So I think a lot of this is just understanding, learning, and how to really just be courteous to not just yourselves, but to others as well. And I think, and it's interesting. I said this about baseball because baseball canceled the rest of their spring training, and opening day starts next week. And it took very, very long because everybody was like, well, you have the arguments between the players and the owners and who's making all this money. And the real question is, how could they have landed a deal with Turner Broadcast if you got no baseball on television? That's one that has questioned a lot of people. And for the players to understand, you can't make your money's worth if you're not on the field, let alone fans in the stands. Because you know what? Feel the same way about people that work in the concessions. They need fans in order for them to make the money's worth, to be able to keep the lights on in all the stadiums, and to take care of their families in their personal lives. So this isn't just something that is going around in the NFL, but this is a lot of uncertainty that's happening in all bodies of sport. And I think for all of us, we just have to continue learning, understanding, be courteous, and we'll get through this together, and maybe this will be a better, more efficient way for us to handle this type of virus.
Yeah, 100%. D, what do you think, man?
When it comes to this, it's a lot I can say. Right now, it's realistically, we're not going to have no fans in the stands. I'll let you know that right now. We're not going to have no fans in the stands to the point. For some reason, I'm hearing feedback, so I'm just going to take these headphones off for right now. But, yeah, at the end of the day, Jake is absolutely right. Like, it's going to be losing money because, number one, no fans in the stands, which kind of upsets me as a Raiders fan, knowing the fact that we just got a brand new stadium, and that stadium.
And you can't even go watch your team.
Huh?
You can't even go watch your team, and you got you built that brand new stadium, and you're not even going to use it.
Right, I can't even go watch them, and it is sad that I can't even experience that actual, arena this year. Well, not arena, but field this year. When it comes to this Corona stuff, people have to take the precautionary steps. They have to understand that yes, it's warm outside. Yes, it's hot outside. People don't want to be in the house all the time. But if you do go out, sanitize. Put your mask on. Don't be a jack about it and be a stupid dodo about it at the end of the day. You know me, Bobby. I'm 100% raw uncut. I really don't play. I cut to the chase. At the end of the day, these people that's in the NFL that's getting the coronavirus and training camp has not started yet.
They're not being careful. They're not being careful about it at all.
They're being very irresponsible about the situation. Okay, it's hot. Okay, you go to the beach, cool. But still, you can still go to the beach and keep your distance. You can still go to these places and keep your distance and wear a mask. Don't be in big crowds. Understand that you are a popular player or you're an NFL player, and people are going to come up to you, but you got to be like, oh, wait a minute, it's the coronavirus. You got to step back. What you do is like some ways of doing it, but at the end of the day, players are being irresponsible to a point that they get in corona. If they quarantine and do all that other stuff, it'll be fine. Like
the numbers would be going the opposite direction.
The numbers would be going opposite direction. Like prime example, when I think it was Dak, if I'm not mistaken, or Zeke that threw a party during the coronavirus.
Yeah.
That's why Zeke got it. He didn't know he had it, but you threw a party in the hardest part of the time of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
You're not being responsible enough for me, and you make all these millions. You know?
No,
you're the type of quarterback who wants to be paid $40 million a year.
We ain't gonna talk.
You know who was the most pissed off at that Patrick Mahomes deal?
Oh Lord,
Dak Prescott, because now he's going to get 28.
Of course, but you know what? Here's the thing: one playoff win is not going to guarantee saying you're a superstar quarterback.
No,
you know you got to win more playoff games than that. I mean, look, I love Lamar Jackson, but 0-2 in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I need something better than that.
Well, right. Yeah, we could get into that. Coach, what do you got about this? Are we going to get a season, or what the hell is going on, man?
Well,
Put
for
like
me,
the Joe Boo from Major League up there and just hope.
yeah, for real. Well, and you know me, Bobby. I coach for a living. I coach and
Yeah.
teach for a living. So if the NFL doesn't happen, college doesn't happen. If college doesn't happen, high school doesn't happen. And so because of that, you know, I'm hoping for the best just because, you know, the kids I coach, I hope they get a season. So, just being a coach, I would love to see our kids get a season, but like y'all were saying, kind of echoing this, we gotta be smarter, you know, and I'm speaking from probably the state that's been like, screw y'all, we're not gonna listen to y'all, you know, the most, unfortunately.
Hashtag we told you, Texas. We told you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yes, we called him.
No, there's no doubt about that. And right now we are suffering the consequences. But
Yeah.
again, you know, my fingers are crossed because if the NFL cannot happen, and we've said, you know, you said, Bobby, before when this thing first started, what season had we were looking for that would probably get through this? It was the NFL because they had the most
time to plan.
to plan, and it's looked like they had their hands in the pockets, just kind of waiting to see someone else make a decision, you know.
Right.
And you know, me and Bobby have talked about this too. Some of these sports leagues need to call Dana White and ask him how he's putting on these events consistently and safely, you know. And I mean, he's been the only sport or U.S. sport that's been
Organized athletic activity. Let's call it
Yes.
that. Organized athletic activity
that's
that's
been
run
rolling.
through all this.
Yeah, that's been rolling through this.
But if you notice too, when it comes to UFC, when the last time we heard news of a UFC fighter getting coronavirus?
Last week.
That's what I'm saying. He's done a good job of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what you're saying, D. They're being they're being responsible. Yeah,
They
I
being
see
more
what you're
responsible.
saying.
And Dana White, as the commissioner, as you know him running UFC, he's making sure that his fighters is getting tested and they
and doing what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, and you have to think about it. Dana White being one of the greatest promoters in all of sports itself. I mean, you know, this is not only just top money dollars that we're talking about here, but this is also the sense of accountability for his brand and even for the fighters, the trainers, the staffs. Everybody is all held accountable when something goes wrong. So when in doubt, something happens, somebody's now got to end up holding themselves accountable for it. And they got to end up doing the right thing and be more responsible in situations like this.
And you know what I like about Dana the best, right? When somebody gets tested positive, like that, gone, bye, later, see ya.
Yeah.
You're flown out of there. Your trainers are flown out of there. Anybody who's been within 6 feet of you in the last week is gone. Like, see you later, bye.
Yep.
No questions asked. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Sorry, bud. You're out of here. Bye.
Leading up to UFC 251 last week, they had over 8,000 tests leading up to the event.
Yeah.
You know, and they've gone.
And that was in a week. 8,000 in a week. 1 week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and when they got to Abu Dhabi, they had a quarantine for 48 hours. As soon as they got to the hotel.
That's how you do it.
Yes.
That if you're testing all the time, you're going to get the most accurate results you could get your hands on.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate thing. That's all accountability, and it's also protecting your brand. I mean, that's the one thing that Dana White has done successfully in these times, you know. And so, and people can say what they want to about, the main card fight when it came to, Jorge Masvidal had 6 days in order for him to really kind of, get himself prepared for a technical fighter like Kamaru Usman. And that's one thing we can go on and on. But
I think they gave him more of a heads up than 6 days, if you want my honest opinion. I think they called him like 3 weeks ago and was like, look, man, we may need you to fight. So don't be drinking all this beer and eating all this popcorn and eating all this
keep
junk
yourself
food.
healthy, keep yourself fit,
we may need you to fight, so don't screw around.
but yet
Yeah.
he was still 20 pounds over.
Hey man, them Eastern European dudes know how to fight though.
Oh, they do.
That old school communist bloc, bro. They were bred to fight.
Oh yeah.
So, moving on, guys. So are we all in agreement that it went from pretty sure we're going to have a season, maybe like a 70-30. It's, in my opinion now, it's trending towards 50-50. Like there is a chance where we could see a shortened season, like a good chance that they could be like, you know what? We're going to say bye-bye to the first 2 regular season games too.
And the thing is, for me, unfortunately, college. On college, I'm down to like 30%. The college football is going to happen this year, unfortunately, because and Bobby knows that's probably my favorite brand of football.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree
because
as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If like, at least the NFL dudes are getting paid. Like they're getting paid, so it's like whatever, But like the college, like college kids are gonna be like, yeah, like I gotta think about this. All the kids that have a shot, like Trevor, like all the kids that have a shot at the NFL.
Mhm.
Do you really think they're gonna be like, I really don't know how this thing is gonna react with me. Do I want to take a chance at losing $150 million? Or do I sit out a year? Let me think about that one for a second.
Right.
Right. I mean, and you've already seen colleges already starting to prep. I mean, Stanford cut like 7 sports last like 2 weeks ago.
I think it was more than 7. I think it was more than 7. I think it was like 12.
And here's what's crazy about that, because this was even the latest. I mean, the Ivy League, they ended up stopping their sports.
Yeah.
And you have to
every fall sport was canceled in the Ivy League. Every one of them.
Yeah, every one of them. And here's the thing, though. Like, what people have to realize is, listen, Ivy League schools and the students who attend them, they're very, very thorough and smart kids. So to me, it's like, on one side, I'm not disappointed in it. I think this is a smarter decision for the Ivy League as a whole, because of the fact of scholastically, these kids, they're probably working more towards science and working more toward medicine to at least
their career, a career outside of football rather than just football.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I mean, good God, if my life had been different, if I wanted to attend Harvard or Yale or Princeton or what, but that takes a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication and really kind of being thorough into the career that you want to strive for. And I give these kids props, but and these are the kids that hopefully, if we find a cure for this virus, these are the kids that I give props to, because because they're going
to be the ones behind it. They're going to be the ones behind it.
They're going to be the ones behind it. But on top of that, like what Coach K was saying, like football, like college football itself, is like gives you so much drama. It gives you so much entertainment. And I mean, I love NFL. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, college football is rather what I watch right now than the NFL.
By far, there's a lot of energy within college football. I mean, you talk about, here's the funny thing. I mean, you look at locations, like, for instance, take fans who watch Alabama, or fans that watch Ole Miss, or USC, or even some of basically colleges who don't have a professional team in their state. But
it's
these
everything
guys,
to them.
Absolutely, it is the world to them. I mean, I talk with several people all the time, and they say the tailgate parties are by far off the hook. Everybody is diehard of their program because they love the football atmosphere in collegiate sports, and it's one that's like they're all in. They're dedicated.
Dude, look at some of the college stadiums. 105,000. They practically shut down in the entire. They're like. Dude, they'll practically shut down the entire town that the stadium is in.
Yeah.
Yep. And those
you want to know what I like what college does over the NFL? if they blow a call, or they're no, okay, no, back it up. There's not a lot of blatantly blown calls in a football game in college, and two, if they screw it up that bad, they're willing to go back, and even if it pisses people off, they'll make the right call.
Yeah,
But on
absolutely.
On top of that, it's just as more physical. To me, like if you see how those college players are getting hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It is
Oh yeah. There's no
legal, too.
there's no leniency in college. You smoke a quarterback from behind, it's legal, man. There's no protection like that.
There's no
Yeah,
protection.
and here's the-
like
Yeah, and here's the thing that people have to understand, because I know a lot of people had their thoughts about the Clemson-Ohio State game, but here's the thing, though, is that the way the game went is the way that the game went. Clemson, you know, they were in the clutch. They ended up playing the game hard until the very end. Now, listen, I love Ohio State, and I love what Justin Fields brings to the table, but the fact of the matter is, it just never executed their way. But that's where experience does come into play. I mean, you have to think about it. This is a brand new head coach after Urban Meyer stepped down from his position. And I give them props to keeping the program open. I didn't think Ohio State was going to come out this way. But still, the way you build your program is one thing that I even talked about. I'll be talking about it a little bit more on the show tomorrow morning. To tune in at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. To be talking about the possibilities of college football, because now the Big Ten, they canceled 42 out of conference games. 3 I would have loved to enjoy watching: Ohio State and Oregon and Eugene, Michigan and Washington. I would have loved watching those games. But here's the thing, and I'm going to make it long story short, but this was my proposal. Number 1, play 10 in conference games. Okay, I'm sick and tired of watching SEC and mostly Alabama, and I'm sorry to have to throw you under the bus, but I don't want to see your schedule where you're playing 5 cupcake games. I don't want to see you playing Mid-Tennessee
Every year.
State or the
Every year, too.
Every year.
you,
Because here's my
Jesus.
thing. You say you're the best of the best program, and I love Nick Saban, but what are your options? Are you building your program, or are you protecting your record?
Dude, us 4 could beat like some of those if we were like. It is that bad.
Absolutely. And here's the thing.
Go ahead, Jake.
So here's the thing about it. But the reason why that I say 10 in conference games, because look at the NFL. And mostly I'm going to say this from an AFC West standpoint. The AFC West is stacked. And there is talent. There's Patrick Mahomes. There's that duo defense of the Chargers. There's that secondary play of the Raiders, and they're in your face. And then you've got the Broncos. So they focus more in their in division.
And then you've got the Broncos, and it's just like, man.
But you know, in all honesty, you
to be
you gotta focus in on your division, because the in division play is the most important than people do think, because that's what helps to punch your ticket into the playoffs. So for
you could go 500 outside the division, but as long as you're undefeated in your division and you still win your division, you're gonna get a shot in the playoffs.
Exactly. And this is something that college football and all of these conferences have to realize and understand. Because listen, out of SEC teams, Alabama, LSU, parts of me half and half say Georgia, but a lot of these SEC conference teams need to step their program up. We've been talking about this for a while, because why is the Big 12 getting competitive? Because the Big 12, you got Texas, you got Oklahoma, and all of them getting competitive. But that's why I say from there. And then my next proposal was 1 cupcake game. That's it. That's a preseason. That's a break.
Actually challenge them and see what happens.
They shouldn't have no cupcakes. Let's be honest here. Alabama been having cupcakes for the last 10 to 15 years. Let's be honest here.
But I mentioned with 1 because think about it. You can treat it like a bye week. Because here's the thing. The small programs, I'm not trying to knock them in the dirt, but the small programs,
they don't have the money to compete. They just don't have the money. They don't.
Yeah, and so for that point forward, one is all you get, no more than that.
So
Sorry, Alabama.
So my thing is this: do you think UCF can compete? Because there's no way they only lose one game in 2 years and don't be considered for the college playoff.
Look at the talent in South Florida. Look at the amount of collegiate talent in South Florida.
They outplayed Florida State. They outplayed Miami. They outplayed most of those teams. They was the best team in Florida for the last couple of years.
But see, that's the thing, though, is because that's all based upon what your competition is, not just in specific programs, but in the conference as a whole. Because, look, outside of
That's
Clemson
true.
and the ACC, I mean, Florida State, are they building their program?
ACC
Miami. I'd love to see Miami get back to where they used to be.
What do you got, Coach? You've been itching to say something. What do you got?
I ain't
Yeah.
really get a chance
Go
to
ahead,
say,
Coach.
but
Go for it, D.
but the ACC conference stinks. We know
Yes.
this already. The ACC conference stinks. But when it comes to Alabama, it's been a lot of teams that was good that wanted to play Alabama, and Alabama turned them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And UCF was one of them. They did not want to see UCF.
So
They did
I'll
not.
say this, right? People make the comparison that Alabama is the Patriots of the college world. But listen. I don't think that's true, because the Pats have had tough schedules. Like, the Patriots play these tough teams. Like, they might not. There's some years where they get it off. Like this last year, they had an easy. The last couple of years they had it easy, but it comes in spurts. Like 2 years they'll have a soft schedule. This coming year they play the AFC West. They have Baltimore. They have Kansas City. They do like 10 out of the
Chargers
6.
also, oh yeah.
10 out of the 16 teams this year for the Patriots are playoff caliber teams.
But the
It's-
only reason that they say that the Patriots are just like Alabama, or Alabama just like the Patriots, if you look at the past recent years and how weak the AFC East was, it was very.
Oh no,
weak.
I'll give you that.
You know what
The
I'm
rest of
saying?
the AFC East still sucks.
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
so.
Sorry,
I think,
Buffalo.
I think Buffalo is on the come up. They right behind y'all. They right behind the Patriots. And then
Buffalo,
the Jets
honestly,
and-
If Buffalo didn't have they need a quarterback. They need an actual quarterback. I have no faith in Josh Allen.
I disagree.
None.
I disagree. I think
Tennessee Volunteers are the best team in the. Oh Lord.
Listen, hold on, before you go, other Coach K.
Hold up. Coach got something to say. What do you got?
I'm gonna
Coach?
just say one more thing. One more thing.
All right, go ahead.
I am a Tennessee Vols fan, and my Tennessee football team sucks. So whoever said that in the comments, I'm just letting it be known. My own college football team sucks, but our basketball, bar none.
Y'all's baseball ain't too bad either.
Yeah, our baseball's
yeah.
not too bad. You got it though.
All right, man. All right.
Go ahead, Coach.
It's all good. Hey, and living in Big 12 country and being a Texas A&M fan, you hear it all the time. 10 conference games, 1-2 champion, all that crap. My thing is this: if you look at these small colleges, your Lamar's, Nicholls States, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, they make their money by playing these big Power 5 schools, and that's how they pay for the athletic programs for the year. By
Yeah.
playing those two,
When they play in those big games.
yes, by playing those 2 Power 5 schools a year, that helps pay for their athletic program for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand what you're saying with making sure we're having competition, which, again, last year us playing LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, playing freaking Lamar was like a holy crap, thank you. Like a breath of fresh air, you know what I'm saying? And on the ACC deal, I mean, yeah, the ACC sucks right now, but I think Mike Norvell of Florida State, I think he's going to turn that thing around. Mac Brown's already out recruiting and getting talent to North Carolina. And we've talked about this multiple times, Bobby. There's no reason Miami should suck. There's
Yeah.
No, the amount
like-
of talent in South Florida is ridiculous.
I mean,
no
the
reason.
Miami were the bad boys years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, my God, Antrell Roll, Ray Lewis, like these guys, they knew how to play hard,
You
and
know
that was
what
a
they're
team that
missing?
really caught our eyes.
They're missing their swagger of the Miami Hurricanes. But you got to think
Yeah.
about it too. The teams like LSU and Alabama, they're going to recruit those players to win
From South
championships.
Florida, 'cause they
From
know,
South
'cause they
Florida.
know.
They dogs down there. They're
Yeah.
dogs. That's
But-
why they're doing it.
And you got
But in that also, oh yeah, finish up,
you got to think too. The high school kids nowadays, it's been not 18 or 19 years since Miami's won national championship, like 01, right? So it's been about 19 years since they've won one, which these kids are 18, 19 years old. So they're either born or weren't even born yet the last time Miami won a national championship. So
Yeah.
all they know is Miami being mediocre.
Well, they
Yeah,
have to go
and-
back and
and-
look at their history.
Yeah,
If you're going to go to Miami, you got to go back and look at that history and see why Miami had the name that they had. But we're in a generation where kids don't care about the past; they just care about now.
right now.
Well, and this is also what leads up to my other part of the proposal on it, because, and this is also, too, where I led up from Coach K's point of view, and I absolutely agree. Like, there are parts of it, but only to me, when I look at certain programs, I look at programs that not only are just the ones that I think can compete, the ones that really can compete against these Power 5 conferences, the ones that actually have invested their money in their program, that's recruiting, that's their coaching staffs, and that's all these players that they're recruiting out of their state. That's the only thing I care about. But for all these other small programs, like, first of all, I'm not looking for Ohio State to save Bowling Green's program. I'm not. Like, Bowling Green needs to end up revamping themselves. So this is also where I put this proposal is, first of all, like, because it leads to this, because there are two programs right now that I need to join a conference: Notre Dame and BYU. Okay, Notre Dame,
Yeah.
no more independent. BYU, no more independent.
But see,
And here
Notre
are
Dame,
two-
Jake, you know why Notre Dame's not signing, because they
Of course.
keep re-upping that. It's that ridiculous amount of
Yeah.
money.
Why would they?
But this
wanna
is
show
but this
that
is
money?
the but this is where I would have proposed this. Now, two conferences for each of these teams that I think fit the bill. Okay, BYU. You ever thought about joining the Pac-12? I mean, how about your other sister school in Utah? Okay,
Yeah.
Utah's a real good program, and if you put them up there in the Pac-12, and let's say the Pac-12, needs one more team. I'm going to say this in the Mountain West: move San Diego State to the Pac-12, because here's the thing: San Jose State, I would not think is a good candidate. They feel like Mountain West. That's a program that is
Right.
Yeah.
mediocre. They don't have the competition. But here's the thing: San Diego State, I'm going to argue this. They've produced really good running backs in the last couple of years.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
They have.
Rashad Penny, and the Pac-12, I will say, is a runner's league. Okay, Stanford produced Christian McCaffrey and Toby Gerhart. UCLA just this past year produced Josh Kelly. And Oregon, we haven't seen a running back since LaMichael James or DeAnthony Thomas, and they
Yeah.
need to revamp their running back. So I
Wait,
think
didn't
San Diego State
LeGarrette Blunt come from Oregon?
Yeah.
LeGarrette Blunt also in
Blunt
Oregon.
came from
That was
Oregon
the
too,
last-
right?
That was the last time, yeah. So I think San Diego State fits the bill for the Pac-12, and then add in BYU to that mix, because at least Utah will have competition, and San Diego State can play teams within their state of USC, Stanford, and so many
Yeah.
others. Now, my other part, Notre Dame. Don't you think Notre Dame looks like a Big Ten conference to me? Don't they
Yep.
look like a Big Ten team to me? Because here's the thing. You got Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan State is a hit or miss. Who else in the Big Ten can I really rely on in that conference?
To,
Wisconsin.
My
dr-
deal
to,
with
draw, to
Wisconsin.
draw, yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
is
to
still
draw.
up next.
I mean,
To draw and
Wisconsin's
to
another
compete.
one.
Draw? No.
Absolutely. Because here's the thing. The way that I look at this, if we're going to play 10 in-conference games, the one I would love to see is when they get to the championship in the Big Ten, and it's Ohio State and Notre Dame. And
Yeah.
who says Notre Dame could potentially upset Ohio State? It's nothing against their program, but
Hey,
it's to show
hey,
the
anytime
urgency for the
anytime
program.
you put two teams against each other that absolutely hate one another, it makes for good football.
But let's
It
be
does.
honest, though.
It really
when
does.
When it comes to Notre Dame, when the last time Notre Dame really been good?
Like 8 years, like 8 years ago, like 8 years
well,
ago.
I don't think they could compete in the Big Ten. I don't think they can. I don't think so.
Well,
Here's the thing. When you look at competition wise, do you think Scott Frost and Nebraska really fit Big Ten?
Compared to Notre Dame,
I say Big
they
12
both suck.
Big 12 needs to get Nebraska back. Take
Yeah.
Nebraska back.
And Colorado.
I want them to see them play Texas.
And hey,
Oklahoma.
like coach said,
Colorado.
and Colorado.
Colorado from the
yeah,
Big
and
12.
Colorado. Like, good
mean,
God.
Like I said,
Oh,
I'm
you talking about the same Colorado team that beat Ohio State last
Yeah.
year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want them to leave the Big Ten.
Pac-12.
Pac-12.
the
the
Pac-12.
They're in the
Pac-12 because
Leave the
Colorado
Pac-12 for the-
Colorado to me doesn't look like a Pac. They're more than a Pac-12. That's why I think for them in Big Ten would be better.
Hey, let me ask you.
And
this.
they've also go ahead, coach. Go ahead.
you talk about San Diego. What about Boise to the Pac?
Boise.
Now,
I love
football at least
Boise, but here's my thing though, because out of experience, because I'm a Boise State fan, so I love watching this program and how well they've progressed. But here's my thing though. Boise State has had tendencies where, yes, they will get red hot depending on the competition that they play. That also leads up to 4 college playoff spots. That's it. No more than that. Leave it at 4, because here's the thing. People started talking about last year, Georgia. Georgia should have got in. But here's the thing. 2 games. 2 games is what screwed you. You played the best team in LSU, and then you ended up getting like boat raced by South Carolina. That's not even a big time program in the SEC.
I was just gonna say, didn't South Carolina roll them?
Yes.
They
and,
absolutely boat raced them.
and
Yeah,
should have lost
yeah.
the A&M game.
Yeah.
Or how about a better one? A couple years back when they said about Ohio State. Yeah, but here's the thing about Ohio State. You ended up losing to the best team of that year, and then you get burnt 31 points by Iowa.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
sorry, dude, but you have to stay consistent in these.
But
Yeah.
the thing about it is, this is what has to happen. If you wanted to have it to 6 teams, and those big name teams losing, they
Yeah.
need to drop, and those good teams that
Yeah.
undefeated needs to move up into consideration.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
yeah,
the problem.
but see that, and here's the thing: the athletic the board of directors for the NCAA doesn't think those small schools that beat those big teams that actually can
It's
compete
not
with
even
them
the
can.
small schools.
It's not.
though.
It's the playoff.
Well,
committee.
well, okay, those schools
Separate
that well,
entity.
so when those it's a problem with the board of directors for the NCAA because they don't think those teams can draw. So it's like I don't want to say it's a bias, but it's like, well, we got to have teams that are in the top 6, or we're not going to make as much money. That's what it is.
So this is
That's-
the problem.
That's what it comes down to.
So that's the problem. Because if Alabama had 2 losses and still make it to the playoffs, that's BS.
No, it is. It is.
It is. And that's the part of it that it's just like, look, I love Oklahoma, and I've always said this about Oklahoma. They're an absolute offensive firepower house. But the problem of it is now we'll see how they look this next up and coming year if we have a season without Kenneth Murray, because I'll argue that he was their most impactful linebacker. Now without him, how is Oklahoma's defense going to shape? Because I almost said this about Kansas City when Patrick Mahomes arrived. The offense was ridiculous, but you then also have to deal with a mediocre defense, but that's also where they have to reshape that defense to make it a little better, make it a championship team.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Oklahoma needs to be able to do that if they want to be a big-time Big 12, not just Big 12, but even be a program in college football.
The last time they had a good defense was Gerald McCoy. Come on.
All right. So since this is my show, and this is not a democracy, it's a butch tatership. We're switching topics.
Oh, you suck.
We're gonna stick with football though.
I love college football, man. I love it. I love the debates.
I will say this. The first thing that we talked about when we first started talking was they don't have as many blown calls because the refs are they're just better, it seems like. They're just better refs.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they do blow a call, it might take them 5 minutes and 2 commercial breaks, but they make the right call and they don't give a shit who it pisses off. They make the right damn call.
Yeah. What the call
And you don't see that
in
because if that happened in the NFL, the Rams call would have been overturned. If that happened in the NFL, lots of these calls, these questionable calls, like those two in favor of the Packers, putting Aaron Rodgers in position to throw that football, wouldn't have these BS calls at the end of games wouldn't happen.
But here's what's funny about that too, because I am a firm believer that nobody's perfect when it comes to calls like this. I mean, look, I love baseball, and I've watched baseball ever since I was in diapers. And everybody is pushed for, well, make the strike zone robotic. Okay, we want accurate pitches like balls and strikes.
No, you can't. You have to have an umpire back there. You can't do that.
But that's the thing though, and that's what I argued about, because here's the thing: even though you want automated strike zones because you want to be accurate of balls and strikes, but you're actually taking the morale of the game away
out of it. Yeah,
you watch all these batters get upset in the umpires, and then managers go, like that's the fuel of the game. Sometimes when you watch hockey and somebody gets into a fight,
so they'll have like a robotic umpire, right? I'm gonna wait for one dude to get pissed and just like take the head off the robotic umpire with a backswing.
Right, and even going to your point, I mean, when you mentioned about the Rams and Saints, but here's the other thing: just because we talked about the pass interference call, what about the unnecessary roughness to Jared Goff?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You completely.
But that's what I mean. Like the
content.
refs in college just seem to do a better job. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And how many times in college have you seen a blown call? I could count maybe a blown call that literally has ruined a season. You can count it maybe on a single hand.
I know. I see that look on Darian's face, and I guarantee you, it's going to be the tuck rule. It has to be.
No. I'm talking collegiate level. Collegiate level.
But collegiate level. Oh yeah. No.
It doesn't happen. They don't blow calls that bad at that level because it just seems like the refs are better.
Well, it depends on the league too. What's going to get called? Like like in the SEC, holding is often called.
SMIG says the NFL refs are biased. It kind of looks like that in some when you look at some of these calls. Hey D, how you feeling about the tuck rule, bro? Just saying. How you doing down there?
The refs ain't.
You all right down there? What's up, man?
Listen. All I gotta say is this: when Tom Brady says it wasn't an incomplete pass, the refs was smoking crack that day.
Or wait, I have a better one for you. Like honestly, and I hate to throw this out.
I'm sorry, Spall. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
I hate to throw this out to Bobby, but do you remember that game against the Ravens where there were missed calls and everything seemed like it was favored in New England, and everybody in Baltimore lost their marbles?
Yes,
that they're just chanting
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You know what's the updated tuck rule when it comes to the Raiders? The fucking index card against the Dallas Cowboys.
I
know. Get the index card out. I didn't know that was a rule until this year.
So you decide on an index card to give somebody a first down?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let me get a drink.
All right, so we're gonna stick with the NFL. Now, Rodgers, Brady, Breeze, those have been the three big guys for probably the last 10 to 12 years. But we're seeing we're seeing the new, the new generation coming up with Mahomes and Lamar and Deshaun Watson and a lot of these
Josh
younger
Allen.
and I don't know if I'd say Josh Allen. You might get muted for that one.
You'll love my point when I explain it later.
Allen has I will say this, Allen has a cannon for an arm, and he can throw the deep ball very well and very accurate. But if you can't hit a 4-yard dump off to a fullback, you are trash. Sorry. But that's what I mean. He'll throw a 60-yard bomb and drop it on a dime, right?
Right.
And then he'll airmail four rows into the stands a 4-yard out.
Oh Lord.
Like I would take that dildo that the Bills throw on the field and throw it right at Josh Allen.
Well, can I be honest then? If you want to say that about Josh Allen, can we say that about Lamar Jackson too?
Oh yeah, no, we can't. Here, so this is a perfect segue into my next thing. So with the three big names coming, they're basically their careers are going to be within the next 2 to 3 years,
And they're future Hall of Famers.
They're future Hall of Famers, but they're not going to be. They're out. Their time in the NFL will be over.
Sure.
Who's the next 5 quarterbacks that we're talking about for the next 10 years? I'm going to start with we'll go snake draft. So we went with you first, Jake. So Coach, we'll go Coach, Darian, Jake, and then back to me. So Coach, who's the 5 quarterbacks that we're going to be talking about for the next 10 years?
Next 10. So, okay. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is probably the number one on that list. By far, I think, arm strength, being able to just run that offense Andy Reid wants to run, those weapons. I think he's going to be the dude. And obviously, he signed a 10-year deal. So you would hope he's
the $500 million man.
Yes, the $500 million man. The next guy, I think, would Russ still be here in 10 years? That's the question. What year is he in right now? What year is he in right now?
Okay, so let's say I'll rephrase. Who are the 5 next gen quarterbacks?
Okay.
Who's going to be who are the 5 quarterbacks that are going to be the face of the league?
Okay, I got you. Like I said, Pat, I want to say Kyler. Kyler Murray in Arizona. I really do. I mean, I love being a Texas guy, being an A&M guy, even though he left for Oklahoma.
You biased motherfucker.
I am a biased motherfucker. Yeah, you're right.
Well, just let you know, Russell Wilson's going into his 9th year.
9th? Hold, I didn't realize he was in there for 9.
Yeah, he got drafted in 2012.
That's okay. Deshaun Watson's going to be a Patriot in 2 years. Suck on that.
Oh, and he's never shown a sign of injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Coach.
He needs the league where he got the worst offensive line in the league.
Yeah. Mahomes, what I say? Mahomes, Kyler, golly. I'm a Tua guy. I think Tua is going to be really good in Miami. Golly. Who's the guy for backup for the Packers? They Love.
Jordan Love.
I think Jordan Love is going to be the guy after Aaron. I think he's going to be the guy. And that 5th one, golly, man, it's not going to be Lamar in my opinion. Maybe I would say like Jake, man. I'm probably Josh Allen. I would lean towards, or
But don't make me mute you.
What about if this person was healthy? What about Carson Wentz?
I could see that. Yeah, I mean,
if he could ever manage to stay on the field,
I could see that. Yeah,
I mean, you gotta say he did play 16 games last year. He just got hurt in the playoffs.
Yeah,
And he played with a bunch of lawn chairs just to make the playoffs.
Right. And I'm not a
that's a
and,
fact.
And Burrow has talent, but I think he's going to die in Cincinnati. I really do.
Burrow See,
But I'm
I
not
think a
Burrow
big
guy.
part of his success was that O-line in front of him, keeping him clean and giving him all that time to dissect those defenses at LSU.
and all those weapons LSU had.
which I think is going to take Joe Burrow a little bit time to be
Readjust.
successful, readjust, because they're building their offensive line. They already did it through the draft.
Yeah.
And they just got to build on it through, veterans that have been there like 2 or 3 years and through free agency, and then you can build in the draft. It's a building process for Joe Burrow. So I wouldn't put him
Yeah.
in my top 5 right now, though.
All right, Darian, who you got, man? Who are your 5, bro?
Unfortunately, it's Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to say it, but it is what it is. It's Patrick Mahomes. Listen, as a Raiders fan, I gotta be realistic.
Yeah, no, I hear you. He's good.
Yeah, he's damn good. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be the future too, because I know he puts that team on his back, regardless of who's out there as the weapons. He put that team on his back. So I think Deshaun Watson, number 2. Very underrated quarterback. I think Jake is going to like this one. Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert is going to be a very underrated
Jake.
quarterback.
You
I
think
think
he's gonna develop into something into a good NFL
Hell
QB?
yes.
I think so. Absolutely. With if he gets the weapons around him, knowing that he already had Mike Williams, you got a Keenan Allen, and you got a Hunter Henry. If you give him some more running back play outside of Austin Eckler, why not?
Yeah, no, that's
He got
true.
he got a good defense too. He got a top 5 defense.
Yeah, I forgot how well the Chargers D did last year because they kind of flew under the radar.
Right. Because you know why Derwin James was hurt.
Yeah,
Yes.
That was the main reason. That's
they
the
did
reason.
though. The Chargers. If you look at the stats last year, their defense did fly under the radar, but they did sneaky good.
Right.
Very good. Very good. I'll
Yeah.
explain it a little more later, but
So I got Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. I'm gonna go with Kyler Murray as well. Would you add the best wide receiver in football to your team?
Yeah,
It's a no-brainer.
and let's not make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the game right now.
He's the best receiver in football.
Right now, hands
amongst
down.
him and Julio Jones, absolutely.
Hey,
I think
and
he's better.
Julio can kiss my 28-3 ass.
I think he's better than Julio Jones.
and Kyler can spin it.
Yeah, he can spin it. Only thing that's hurting him is his height, but he's making it happen. So
No,
Kyler Murray,
yeah, and I think Kingsbury and him are going to be once they had that initial year to kind of build that chemistry and basically find out what worked and what didn't. I think Kyler could have a big year this coming year.
And I'm gonna put Carson up there. I think if Carson stays healthy, he's definitely the future for the Philadelphia Eagles. But I do have an honorable mention.
Well, who's the honorable mention?
Y'all might laugh at this, but I think it's gonna be a bounce back year for him. Jared Goff.
He
Got
It
paid
might-
like
could.
it.
He could.
He got paid like it.
He could.
Yeah,
He
I
could.
mean, he got his Cooper Cup. He got his baby right next to him. Why not?
And see, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods drive that offense. Those two receivers drive that. If they are on and they're catching the football, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, that team will succeed. You saw what happened without Cooper Kupp. They doubled up Woods, Woods is a matchup-based receiver, but if you put him in the right spot, he will burn you every play.
We're not gonna get it to Dak Prescott is way better. When the last time that man won a playoff game? We're not gonna talk about Dak, because you can come up on here. I can tell you a lot about Dak.
Oh, Lord.
Dak,
He's not even-
here's the thing, right? This is just my opinion on Dak. This is the year. look the lineup, right? Zeke Elliott, the who's the tight end there? Jarwin,
Yep, Blake Jarwin. Yep.
right? So Elliott, Jarwin. You have
CeeDee Lamb,
CeeDee
Michael
Lamb.
Gallup,
You have Amari
and
Cooper.
Amari
You have
Cooper.
Michael Gallup. Look, if this is just my opinion, and it might rub some Cowboy fans the wrong way, but this is my opinion.
Hey, do it.
With the offensive line around him, if they don't get to the NFC title game, it's a failure.
No,
Oh,
no, I
They're not
disagree.
going to.
Them getting into the playoffs,
Not making the
period,
playoffs as a whole is a failure.
failure.
No, but do you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. They if they miss the playoffs and go 8-8 this year, guess what, Dak? Your pay just went from 31 to 24.
yeah.
My thing is this: Arku saying that they blame the coaching staff. The coaching staff can give the players the play. The players have to execute. Period.
But this is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like this is why there's no excuse. Whole new coaching staff, new regime in there. You know what I mean? Like if Dak doesn't succeed this year, and people forget this, Darian, like a lot of Cowboy fans forget this. He's a fourth round pick. It's not like he was a second round or first round. He was taken in the fourth. So for him to make the playoffs 2 out of the 4 years he's been here, 2 out of the 5 or whatever, I think 2 out of 4, this will be his 5th year. That's pretty good for a 4th round pick. It's not like you got him in the 2nd or late in the 1st. He was in the 4th.
Let's just throw it on the table. Dak was asking for. Well, actually, they offered Dak.
He was
100
asking for Pat Mahomes money. He's out of his.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he should throat punch his agent for the negotiating that he
there's
did.
He
He signed the franchise tag and lost $3 million for doing it. The original offer to him was $33 million.
And you thought Jerry Jones was cheap.
I'm gonna be honest here.
But you know what I mean? The original offer to Dak was $33 million, right?
And 33
And he-
was enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said, "Nah, man." And you know what? You guess what he signed the franchise tag for? 31 and a half.
And the
If
two
I'm
contracts
him, I would
compared to that
karate
was
chop
Jimmy
my
G
agent
and
in the throat for that.
Yeah.
Like, whoever was feeding him this crap to fight that deal is a moron.
What's funny about all of this stuff though with Dak? What has outside of the 1 or 2 playoff games he went to? Even last year, does the Dallas Cowboys go 8-8 every damn year?
It seems like the last 20 years they've gone 8-8, 9-7, 10-6.
How you
Yeah.
lose to with the weapons of Amari Cooper, Zeke Elliott, Michael Gallup, and you lost to a depleted Philadelphia Eagles team?
Yeah.
Come
Hey,
on.
let's not forget they've had the best offensive line in football for the last 5
8
years.
years. 8 years probably.
And how you not make the playoffs? I'm lost.
Yeah. All right. So D, who you got? So recap again what you got. What we got for
I
you?
had Patrick Mahomes,
Yep.
Deshaun Watson,
Yep.
Justin Herbert,
Yep.
Kyler Murray, and
Yep.
Carson Wentz.
I kind of like that. That's. I like that.
I like that.
All right, Jake.
So,
Who you got, man?
all right.
Who are we going to
So
be? Who are the QBs we're going to be talking about for the? Who are the 5 face quarterbacks of the NFL?
All right. Well, I'll break it down 1 through 5, of course. So, of course, I mean, look, it's a no-brainer and it's an obvious. It's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, look, this has been a 10-year pact since Andy Reid even came into Kansas City, and Kansas City took a chance at Patrick Mahomes because, look, if this was a team that was strictly about winning, then they would have never drafted Patrick Mahomes. They would have kept Alex Smith and just win games, win divisions, but championship down the road, Andy Reid was not wanting that, especially after Philadelphia and Donovan McNabb. He wanted something more with that. He wanted a special quarterback. So Patrick Mahomes fits the bill. He does everything just ridiculously good. I don't think there's one thing he doesn't do well.
And you know what he does the best? Sorry to interrupt. You know what he does the best? He hides Andy Reid's deficiency of game management at the end of games.
Very much.
He is so good. He's
He's a
so
game
good.
manager.
Yeah. Well, he's so. Andy Reid needed a quarterback like this. He needed
Yes.
a quarterback good enough to mask his game management deficiencies, and he found them.
Yeah, and look, I
And
like
traded
Donovan.
up for it too.
Absolutely. And look, I like Donovan McNabb, and I thought he was a heck of a quarterback in Philadelphia. But here's the thing, though. Even though, yeah, we remembered the Super Bowl against New England where they had Terrell Owens and they had a bunch of really good players, but even that was still not enough for Philadelphia to potentially win a championship, let alone, Andy Reid winning a Super Bowl. Even, no matter how good of a playbook a playbook guru he is on the offensive side. And I think Patrick Mahomes absolutely fit that bill. He's the one that I think embraces more of what Andy Reid's coaching style really is all about.
And I'll give Andy Reid this: he's an offensive guru.
Absolutely.
He's an offensive. He is an offensive genius. He is.
Absolutely. If there is anybody that honestly that I can think could be the next Andy Reid if we get to that point, I'll be honest, I think Lincoln Riley will. I think Lincoln Riley could very much be that guy. You put him in a good organization, you give him the playbook, and you give him the right players and the right franchise quarterback he can work with. He can be successful, but you got to keep him away from some of these mediocre teams. Otherwise, that may turn around and it might bite him in the butt, much like it did with Pete Carroll before and even Nick Saban.
But see, Pete needed that quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he found Russ. And he found Russ. Riley needs that quarterback. Coach, what were you going to say?
Why would Lincoln Riley leave Oklahoma?
That's true. We talked about that before too.
that's
look,
another thing.
I'm not saying it's 100% a guarantee, but
Yeah.
what's not to say that there is a team in the NFL who couldn't potentially sweeten the deal that
They give him like a Godfather type offer
right.
where he can't turn it down.
And the organization is saying, I got a quarterback, we got an offense, we've got a defense too, we got the team. We just need the architect.
I'll
We
be
need the
honest with you.
architect to make this happen.
Lincoln Riley is making NFL money in college. He
Yeah.
don't need to leave.
Yeah, no, he is.
With-
He's
with a lot-
he's borderline there. Yeah.
He's damn near making NFL money.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. Who's 2 through 5?
So my number 2 here that I'm looking at, I'm going with Carson Wentz in this one. The only reason why is because, look, you could say what you want to about Carson Wentz. He's never healthy or any of this. But when he is, don't forget, for Philadelphia fans, okay, the ones who chanted about Nick Foles and thinks he was the better quarterback in the deal, just keep drinking your beer. Just stop.
We're going to
Okay.
get into that.
Fir-
We're going to get into
fir-
that.
First and foremost, Doug Peterson, I will say, is a hell of a coach who makes D+ players into like B+, A- by the time they get into the playoffs. He
Just
knows
before
how
that,
to
Jake,
adjust this.
He was under Andy Reid.
Yeah, he was under Andy Reid's coaching tree. I mean, much like Matt Nagy and even way back when, John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh was part of the coaching tree, and these guys have been very successful, and they are game adjusters. That's the one thing about Doug Peterson that people should never brush away is the fact that, yeah, injury prone with wide receivers, offensive line, even secondaries, I'll argue. But even the guys that they may look like they were in the practice squad, but they played like, hey, we've been in the league for like 2-3 years. Doug Peterson knows how to adjust to that. And having a special quarterback like Carson Wentz, who has the arm strength, the accuracy, and we'll see what his mobility will look like if the offensive line is healthy. But I'll argue, look at the MVP year. Don't forget about the guy who punched your ticket into the playoffs and played like an MVP before getting hurt. He made that happen.
I hate to say this, right? Because it hurts my fucking soul. But the balls and the guts that Andy Reid showed in the Super Bowl against the Pats, no fear. No, there was people play Bill Belichick and they look across from him and they piss down their leg because they don't have the balls to make the calls that Andy. They don't have they don't have the balls to make those like the Philly play. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That took balls to call that. You know what I mean? If you play the Patriots in a big game, you can't be afraid of the spotlight. You can't be afraid of the spotlight. You can't be afraid of the moment. You can't be afraid to take a calculated risk because you have to. You have to. And Doug and Peterson bested Bill Belichick that day. He did.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's what I believe gained the respect as far as from one coach to another, because that's what it is. It's an ultimate test for all of these coaches.
And when they saw that Malcolm Butler wasn't playing in that game, they ate. What do you think they did? They ate that side of the field up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because no matter what
hole.
trash bin corner they threw over there, they ate that. Doug Peterson was like, he ain't this. He saw that, Malcolm Butler played. Let me reiterate this: 98% of the snaps for the starting defense during that year. It's the 1 year. It hurts my soul because it's one of the very few times where Belichick actually put his ego ahead of the team.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing that I love about Doug Peterson. And I think that nobody should even underestimate a coach who has that type of mentality. I mean, look, we look at Bill Belichick. We look at, parts of me will say, Sean Payton. And we look at a lot of these veteran coaches who've been there, done that, who have, it does take years to, it takes years to develop that. And I think that's one that will last for a long time. Number three for me, I have to say, is Jared Goff. And I'm glad you brought that up because, listen, Sean McVay, I think we kind of all got carried away because of the fact of how good. Look, Kyle Shanahan, I will even say this too, is another offensive genius too. And the fact that he was able to get a defense on top of that in San Francisco is why this team was successful in the first place. But
I hate to burst your bubble there, Jake, but he also like 28-3. The dude choked.
Oh, I know.
He choked that game away.
With Kyle Shanahan is this. Even though
the Patriots mind fucked him, and he hasn't got over it since.
Even though, mind you, it couldn't. With any other coach that went up against Bill Belichick at that time, they wouldn't have went back to the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan went back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
yes.
No, he.
You know what I'm saying?
He out of all the ones, he has the least amount of. He's not good at trusting his players in big spots. He should have trusted Jimmy and let him sling that football the entire fourth quarter instead of going conservative. They tried to go conservative.
He kind of did let him sling it. And what happened with Garoppolo? He overthrew a wide open Emmanuel Sanders.
Right.
No, I know, but that's so I get it. But just because he makes one mistake doesn't mean you automatically just turn it off. You have to say, look, kid, you're still gonna sling it. We got to win this game. Like, get over that one throw and let's go.
And that's pure
Super Bowl.
determination. Yeah, that's pure determination and that's trust. Because here's the thing, I even argued this because look, how could you be bashing on Jimmy G, who, by the way, last year threw 69% completion of his throws, and he had almost nearly 5,000 passing yards. Like, I can't argue that.
But
and just because of how things played out, look, they had the right idea, it just never executed their way.
Yeah,
They had a good running game too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that's when
had
they
a
really
real good
fell
running
off
game.
them. But if you would have really dissect that Super Bowl, it's a lot of calls that was called that shouldn't have been called.
No, absolutely.
That offensive pass interference before the end of the half with George Kittle, you really could call that in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. And this is also to where the point where I get back to Sean McVay and Jared Goff, because Sean McVay, I do believe, is a real good offensive-minded coach as well, and I think that also gives confidence to a guy like Jared Goff because, look, Jared Goff can play. Jared Goff could play when you put the football in his hands. And yes, he does have a really, really good asset in Cooper Kupp. And let's not forget Robert Woods as well. The question to me is, I look at the tight end position, because I did say this when they had rumors about Gronkowski at one point. I almost thought, you think LA would potentially have a run in it, because at least they have a veteran tight end who has been there, done that, won championships, but also can build potentially the next tight end behind him in case of anything happened. And it would have made sense for the LA Rams, especially with the offense that they had going on. But Jared Goff, to me, the one game that I – yeah, the one game I'll say –
is he on your list? Is he on the list?
Oh, yeah, he's on my list. He's number 3. He's number 3 on my list, because the thing of it is, like, I go back to when the Rams played the Chiefs. I mean, that shootout game, it was all 4 quarters until finally somebody had the last laugh, and it was Jared Goff. And look, it's not an unfortunate to Patrick Mahomes, because it was the most watched and most entertained game in that season. But that was one that just told you these are real good future quarterbacks that we're going to talk about for the next 10 years. But Jared Goff, I would never underestimate his type of play style. And as long as he's got Sean McVay there with him, his confidence is going to stay stable. And I think you put the right guys in front of him. We'll talk about the running back situation, because I don't know what I see in Henderson or what I may see in Cam Akers, but I can only hope that they fix this running back position. Because, listen, the Rams, I will say this, I said this before, that they're the team that love their players, not like their players. Because here's the thing. They're like that guy that likes to buy all these cars. You know, he likes to buy these cars. And he likes to chauffeur his cars. He likes to chauffeur his Aston Martin. He wants to show off his Tesla. And he wants to, but here's the thing that people forget. The second that you buy a brand new car and it leaves the lot, the value drops by 30%.
You might as well just start throwing money out the window.
You might as well throw money out the window. And that is something that LA is kind of in a jam. And that's where I'm like, they're probably going to lose impactful players because of that. And that's where they need to learn that. So from that aside, Jared Goff and Sean McVay, I see this working for a long time. Number 4 to me, I think I have to agree with Kyler Murray on that one. I mean, good God. Like, you know, listen, and even what Darian was saying before, we've gotten to the point in the era of sports and even in the era of football as a whole, like, the person who influenced this the most, many people can say back in the day, maybe it was Randall Cunningham, maybe it was Michael Vick. But I'll argue and say Russell Wilson is the one person who impacted these quarterbacks. Why we see Patrick Mahomes, why we see Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Josh
because
Allen,
of Russ.
Because of Russ. The fact that we're getting all these quarterbacks who come out of college, and I'm not saying they're having stellar rookie seasons, because, you know, sometimes they'll have good rookie seasons where it's decent, but I'm telling you, by year 2, this is why I don't brush this off. By year 2, these quarterbacks pop. Patrick Mahomes, in his first full season as a starting quarterback, he popped. Lamar Jackson, second year with Baltimore, he popped. What's to say that Drew Lock potentially for Denver could potentially pop and be an offensive power?
I see. There's potential there with Drew. There is.
Oh yeah,
there is definitely. He might be a little rough around the edges.
Yeah,
but there's potential there.
I gotta say something real quick. EJ, put some respect on Dak, man. Really? What respect?
I'll get into that in just a second, because look, that is going to be one of my topics I'm going to talk about tomorrow morning too. But finishing
win a playoff game and then I respect it.
But finishing with Kyler Murray, and here's what's so similar about his game and Russ's. Both of them are not just football players, but they've also played baseball as well. Kyler Murray is an athletic freak. Okay, this is a guy that keeps himself agile, and much like Russ, will find ways to keep himself out of harm's way, stay injury-free, but he also throws a hell of a beautiful ball. I've never seen anybody who throws a beautiful spiral, and now having Larry Fitzgerald and DeAndre Hopkins there, and I'll argue Christian Kirk as well, is going to be one that's going to be fun to watch. I don't see them having a winning record. I think, to me, they may be a 7-9, maybe a potential 8-8, but it'll be a fun type of team like that, because you see the potential in Kyler Murray, you see the potential in that offense with Cliff Kingsbury. They're going to figure this thing out, but that's not just only the offense, but that's where they have to shape the defense too.
Hold on. I gotta cut you off again. Just like I said, EJ, Carson Wentz played all 16 games last year. It still went to the playoffs. What did Dak do in 16 games? Stay at 8-8.
So, my final. And
Who's the number 5?
And I'm very glad, actually, that Darian brought this up, but I'm going to say it's going to be Justin Herbert of the Chargers. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
I would
this.
throw that thing at you right now.
I'm not saying this. I'm not throwing this because of my fandom. I will not do that. I don't do that in my show. But here's the reason why I say Justin Herbert. This is my thing about Justin Herbert. If you look at his background, this kid is a 4.0 biology major student. He's very smart.
Super smart kid.
When you put a playbook in front of him, especially I talked about it with how this season is going to pan out. Yes, the Chargers will start with Tyrod Taylor, but I said give it about week 7, week 8. By the time that think of the quarterbacks that we've had in the past 5 seasons that I've said, wait till week 7, week 8. Because at least halfway through the season, they learn this playbook, they understand it, and they've practiced it, that they could potentially be prepared for the NFL style level. I mean, yeah, it took a short amount of time for Daniel Jones to come out for the Giants until people said, I underestimate this kid. This kid came out of a program of Duke who's known for basketball and not so much football, but this kid is transformative.
And he threw 26 or 27 touchdowns last year?
27 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
But that's my thing, is that we're getting all these college quarterbacks out of nowhere, and they're already popping by year 2. So Justin Herbert, to me, is a very smart kid. But here's also the benefit to reason that I think Justin Herbert is going to be talked about a lot. And I say this now from a fan standpoint, finally after 30 years, that the Chargers have a healthy offensive line. We couldn't do that with Drew Brees. We couldn't do that with Phillip Rivers. So now we're finally going to do that with Tyrod Taylor and with Justin Herbert. Now I see where the change in the organization.
See, I don't know if it's health, Jake, but you guys actually have an offensive line that's
it's
cohesive.
Decent. It's
cohesive.
Decent. Yeah.
Cohesive. Yeah.
And this is the thing. You've got weapons all around. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, and Austin Eckler. And I will say a sleeper running back who's a rookie, Josh Kelly. If you watch this kid in UCLA and watch him play, this guy I think is Melvin Gordon 2.0, but he could catch a ball. And he can actually run. And that is something that Justin Herbert is going to have so much fun behind this offense. Listen, I made my point about this, that the Chargers, they went 12-4 a year before last year, and they went a rough 5-11. What is to say that the Chargers don't rebound and go 11-5?
Okay, so are you finished, Jake? Because I really want to get into
my last thing about Justin Herbert with this is that you look, Anthony Lynn by far in his coaching method, I know there are a lot of questions about him, but I will say this, Anthony Lynn is probably one of the most motivated coaches that the organization has had. Mike McCoy was crap. I remember the time
Chargers have had a lot of guys who are just like,
but the one who should have never,
same like the Raiders,
but the one who should have never got fired after 14-2 was Marty Schottenheimer. And then you settle for Norv Turner.
Dude, Turner's clueless.
And listen, I will say this, Bobby, that I remember that playoff game, and I was so pissed off.
I didn't want to say it. I was hoping you'd bring it up before I could.
But listen,
You
look,
ran y'all did so good, and then you came to and then you came to Foxborough.
that
and
was
you ran
much,
into us.
that was much like the missing ring, like the years of Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow and that ridiculous defense. That was one that like should have been the championship team. But this is where I think by this time, like the way that the organization is setting itself, this is a brand new face. You got a brand new stadium. You got fresh new unis that's only making it better because nobody can deny that are like, dude, those Charger unis are ridiculously awesome. Okay, let's be honest here. You know, like you even look at yourself in the mirror, no matter what your fandom is, and like, damn, I feel like I want to bolt up right there.
We want
But-
to talk about. We want to talk about performing.
But besides all that,
Nah.
Justin Herbert possesses a lot of things. He throws a deep ball. He's very accurate, and he's also somebody that's very mobile and agile that I think he could potentially, if all the cards play right, could be a big-time game manager.
Yeah.
A big-time game manager, especially if when you got Patrick Mahomes in that division too.
All right, Bobby.
But that's the one thing that could prevent Herbert from really like getting to a top is that he's got to play Mahomes for the next 5 years at least.
Bobby,
at
I want to get
least.
this off my chest so bad.
let me get this through.
I want to get this so bad right now. EJ, you saying Dak one playoff went 0. When was Dak ever a consideration of an MVP? One. Let's talk about that. Number 2, if he wouldn't have got hurt, they still would have went to the Super Bowl. When has ever Dak seen the NFC Championship? Let's talk about it. Like this stuff, like you say that Dak got one playoff win, but Dak hasn't really been injured. Carson Wentz got injured in his best year of his career, and he was about to be MVP.
So
Josh Gardner.
can I jump in for 1 sec? Right? Let me just jump in for once. So how do we judge like if we're looking at Dak and Wentz, right? And you're gonna logically compare the two, you know, look at them side by side, right? Who throws? Feel free to answer on your own time. Who is the more? Who would you trust in the pocket, Dak or Wentz?
Carson Wentz.
Wentz,
Wentz.
right?
Dak can throw it a mile.
He can
Right?
throw. but
2
he's
minutes.
systematic.
2 minutes left. 2 minutes left in 2 minutes left in a game,
Carson Wentz.
and they got to go 70 yards.
You know what?
Dak or Wentz.
I'm
Wentz.
going with Wentz because Wentz is doing it with no name receiver.
Listen. Accuracy in tight spaces. Dak or Wentz,
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
right?
Wentz.
Durability.
I'll have to say Dak
Yeah,
because
but see,
of the injury prone.
I will give Prescott this. Is he the more durable quarterback, and can he stand in a pocket and take a hit and deliver and then get back up? More than likely. But he's yet to really, and I'm not saying Dak can't take the next step up, but has Carson Wentz's development been quicker than Dak's? Yeah.
Carson Wentz has been
And
shown
on
to
top
be
of
a
that,
game manager.
not only has Carson Wentz's development been faster, he's done it with fucking scrubs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally dudes from a burger joint. Like the guy he's done more with. That's the biggest argument why I think Dak isn't going to get what he's searching for, is that he's had a lot of, I get the coaching has been questionable, right? But if you're a very good to elite quarterback, right? The coaching shouldn't
Yeah, it should
matter that
shouldn't matter.
much.
No.
Why do people talk about Brady being so good? Because he's done it forever with a bunch of fucking nobodies.
Exactly.
Of course. And that's the one thing, is because what separates Dak and Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz has been shown to be a game manager.
Yeah.
Dak take Zeke away, take Amari Cooper away. Are you still a game manager? I'm
No.
afraid not.
And you
I'm
know
afraid
you know
not.
what the biggest knock that I have against Dak though, right? Is you take those guys out of the equation, right?
Yes.
Really good to elite level quarterbacks will elevate the scrubs on the team and still manage to pull a win out. You might win 20 to 7. Listen, you might win 20 to 19, 20 to
Just the funny
17.
part. Just the funny
But
part.
listen, you win the game. That's what elite and really good quarterbacks do.
This is what's funny. Eagles went to the playoffs last year.
Yes.
They was this close from winning a game with Josh McCown.
Yeah.
What was Dak doing? Sitting at home with Amari Cooper, a Zeke Elliott, a Michael Gallup, even a Jason Witten.
But that's the biggest argument that's the biggest argument that goes against. I mean, Coach, like me and you have talked about this in nauseum, dude. It's the talent on Dallas compared to the talent on the Eagles, and what the quarterbacks can do with it. That's the biggest argument. Like
That-
Wentz has done more. Wentz has done more with less than Dak has. Put Carson Wentz on the Cowboys. With
Carson
give,
Wentz
give
would
Carson
elevate.
give Carson Wentz Zeke Elliott, give Carson Wentz Amari Cooper, give Carson Wentz Blake Jarwin, and give Carson Wentz that offensive line, dude. Come on now, easy argument.
Carson Wentz. I will say
Carson
this:
Wentz would
would
take the
make-
Cowboys to the playoffs.
he would take Dallas to be 14-2.
Yeah,
Last year, they should have been a 13-3 team, and they absolutely disappointed. And everyone was healthy. Everyone was healthy. Carson Wentz would love to have an offensive line and a wide receiving core than what Dallas had. And Philly went 9-7 still.
yeah.
That is the one thing.
And the best part about it, right? Philly beat them in the rubber. They beat them in the game. Like they beat them in that. I said it. I was like, "This
they
is
beat 'em in the game.
This game is going to determine who wins this division." And Dak couldn't. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. But see, that's the argument. It's if Dak wants to get paid, you have to prove that you can elevate a C- player to a B+
Yes.
and win a game.
Yes.
Hey,
absolutely.
I'll say this though, and Darren hit on it. Mediocre play count, okay, but you still have to make those plays as the player, no matter what the play is called, regardless. Now, again, Bobby, we've talked about it. Dak has had some riches in terms of talent since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
You know, he's had the
That's
best offensive
Bryant,
line.
one of them.
Yeah, he's had the best offensive line in football since he's been in the league. He's had probably the best running
Think
back.
of how many quarterbacks would love to have a clean pocket for 3
Oh
seconds.
my God.
Well, and he's also had
Andy
probably,
Dalton, Joe
Mhm.
Burrow, God, Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah,
Good God. Like
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Deshaun-
Coach. Finish up, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
yeah. You're good. You're good, bro. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, Dak to me, what Dan Mullen did with him at Mississippi State was something special because
Yeah.
Dan Mullen
Yeah.
got the absolute best out of Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
I think Mike McCarthy is going to be a little bit better than Garrett. I do think that, but like you said, Bobby, and y'all said, this is a prove me year for Dak. If he does not make the play, if they don't win the division, he does not. I think Dallas needs to move on.
Yeah.
I will say this because this is exactly what I will be presenting tomorrow morning is because I think Dak has absolutely underestimated the power of Jerry Jones because here's the thing. Jerry Jones is not cheap. Jerry Jones does pay his players well, but he plays his players.
He'll pay you for sure. Look
Absolutely.
at Zeke.
And-
He'll
and
pay
yeah,
you.
Jerry
Yeah,
wants to win.
even Amari Cooper and a lot of these guys, DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith, he will pay his guys, but these are the guys who are committed to the plan. But here's the thing about Dak, and this is the knock on him. One playoff win is not enough for me, Dak. And
No.
here's the thing. How
Two
many
isn't
debate-
either.
No, it's not. Like, and if you give me 3 playoff wins, we can renegotiate from there. Because who are the quarterbacks who successfully done that? Jimmy G, Jared Goff.
And they all outdid Dak Prescott.
Yeah, they all did. And that is
Lester, no, they did it quicker.
I
than
would
what
be
Dak-
I would be
Dak
willing to
Prescott
argue.
was, like-
I would be willing to argue that I would be willing to argue that Kyler Murray's ceiling is worth more
Oh, I
than
believe
Dak.
it.
I would rather pay Kyler Murray over. I would rather overpay for Kyler Murray than overpay for Prescott.
I got a hot take for y'all. Not really a hot take, but he said mediocre play calling. You just hire a coach that did mediocre play calling in Green Bay. What are
I
you
don't
talking
bel-
about? And Mike McCarthy. Come on.
I don't. Here's the other thing too, and this is where I'm gonna finish this with Dallas. Dallas, like the world, is in a place of uncertainty
Yeah.
because Dallas,
What do they
You
do if
were
Dak doesn't pan out?
and that is the thing, Dallas, no excuses. You were healthy all last season, and you went 8-8. You were supposed to be a 13-3 team from the look of the paper,
Or 11-5.
or at least 11-5.
Dude,
and
the,
you just,
se-
and you
dude, the,
disappointed.
the floor was like
Yeah.
11 or 10 or 11 wins.
Yeah.
The floor.
The floor
Yeah.
itself was 10. And look, I live in Vegas, and when I look at the sports bets, and that's what they're telling me about Dallas, you disappointed the expectation. And that is the one thing where, in an uncertainty, because a lot of people will say this, well, most of that was Jason Garrett. Okay, but Jason Garrett, look, he's an offensive coordinator as well. But there are also some things to Jason Garrett's game that sometimes is off. Or, well, it's about Dak. Well, I'll argue, yeah, Dak only has 1 playoff win.
Hold up. Time
But
out.
Dak-
We're going to say Jason Garrett offensive play calling was mediocre when this team was a top 3 offense
This-
in the league last year.
This is why, but I did say there were holes to his game. That's why I
Yeah.
said he is an offensive coach, but there are holes to his coaching method. That's why I didn't want to leave that out. I didn't
Yeah.
want to leave that out. Now, where I'll finish with this is the other question, because this is also what involves Green Bay. Who made a bigger impact, Mike McCarthy or Aaron Rodgers?
No,
about
it was
the guy-
Rogers won that Super Bowl, not Mike McCarthy.
But let me ask
Exactly.
you this. Why in the hell is Aaron Rodgers leading the last 2 years in throwaways?
Because he's a giant douchebag.
Absolutely. And maybe that was the point that, look, it may have happened even with Mike McCarthy that he didn't even trust. But you're also talking about Matt LaFleur. And ain't that the reason why Green Bay traded up to get Jordan Love? That should already have been a spark in saying, listen, Aaron, we do the business, not you.
Yeah.
You follow the playbook.
Piss us off and watch what happens.
Exactly. And this is why that I said for Green Bay fans. What is to say that once they move off of Aaron Rodgers, give the next 2-3 years that all Green Bay fans are going to be like, oh, we love Jordan Love. It is history repeating itself. You did
All
this
over
with Brett Favre when he was 35.
Yep.
You're doing this now with Aaron Rodgers and he's 36.
Yep.
Green Bay just has a history of repeating itself. But this is also, too, where if you actually look at it from Mike McCarthy's efficiency, he's actually a number 7, number 8 out of the top 10 coaches.
Yeah, when it
Who
comes
had
to like
winning
winning percentage,
records.
right? Winning percentage, right?
percentages.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is the part that is
He's
gonna
at
be
like
the
he's at
argument.
like 670. I think it's like 670 something or something like that.
That is
It's-
going to be the point of argument, because at the end of the day, if Mike McCarthy turns this Dallas organization around, and let's say they do become a 10-6 or 11-5 team,
yeah.
people will argue, "Oh, Mike McCarthy really was a good play
Good
caller.
coach.
He was a good coach." We
Okay.
underestimate, well, because you sided with the player, which nothing against Aaron Rodgers, but do understand You know this with New England. Belichick was the architect. Brady just so happened to be one of his best builders. Listen, I work for a pool business. Okay, and in order to build a pool, you got to have the architect and you got to have the right builders.
And the plans.
Otherwise,
without
and
the
plans.
without the blueprints, you can't do
Without
anything.
the blueprints, you can't do anything with it. That's why
Yeah.
it worked. That's why it worked for New England for 20 years. That's why it's also worked for Sean Payton and Drew Brees for so long until they finally got a Super Bowl.
Well, that's the thing. Like Brady was never the strongest arm thrower. Belichick knew what Brady was good at, and it was
Yes.
accuracy. Accuracy.
Yes.
Let's throw everything 25 yards and in, and just put it on a dime.
Yes.
And how has the Patriots offense operated for the last 21 seasons, 20 seasons? It was we will 8-yard catch you to death and run 9 minutes off the clock and score a touchdown and beat you 24-14 every game because you don't have enough time to catch us.
Yeah. And this is actually kind of funny because one of them mentioned defense was inconsistent and Brett Maher caused Cowboys football games. Yeah, well, you know what? I know what that feels like when you don't have the right kicker for the Chargers until you finally get Mike Badgley, who actually builds this team up. Okay, I know what that looks and feels like. So, but it ain't all just
did
on
y'all miss
Brett
did y'all
Maher.
miss some kicks? Did you guys miss some kicks and some
Oh
wins?
God, we missed a lot of those games.
I know
because
this. I'm just poking the bear.
Oh my Lord. But you know what? That's why I'm like, thank God we have the Badger and Badgley. And so, but long story short, that's where Dak has no excuses by this. But this is also the uncertainty about Dallas. Yes, you got Amari Cooper. And when Amari Cooper arrived in Dallas after that trade, Dallas went 7-2. Because Dak actually had a wide receiver not named Des Bryant who actually played up to his role, at least somewhat. But you have him, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke. And then you got to reshape that offensive line. But here's the problem. You don't have Byron Jones. You don't have a strong secondary. I don't even know anybody in that secondary that I can trust that can shut teams down. Like, I don't know, Philadelphia.
You want to know what
who
the sad part
upgraded
about that
wide
is, Jake?
receivers.
Right? You want to know what the sad part is? That front seven is nasty. All if they had secondary, if they actually had some halfway decent corners, that defense would be dangerous. But the back half of that D is the Achilles heel. You throw, dude. You know how it is, right? They run that soft zone defense, right? Because they can't go man to man because they're not good enough, right? And what most quarterbacks in the NFL can absolutely demolish a zone. They can demolish a zone. It's easy. They're all timing throws, and professional quarterbacks that make it to the NFL, they can throw those timing throws and throw it to a spot all day long, and they will eat a defense alive like that. They don't. The back half of Dallas's D is what's costed them 5 seasons now.
Yeah. And that's the reason for that. That is exactly the reason why that there is no excuses from there. Because here's the thing. We know in Dallas everybody's got to get paid because eventually you got to pay Leighton Vander Esch. Look, Sean Lee is going to stick around because it's more than just the money. He loves Dallas. He loves Texas. Okay, so he's not going to leave the Cowboys that easily. But give me a better secondary because you're going to face Carson Wentz and that wide receiver core twice in a row, and they got better at it. They fixed their problem. I'm not going to sleep on the Giants either. When everybody is healthy, you got to shut those wide receivers down as well. But let's even talk about in the NFC as a whole as well. There are other wide receivers. Atlanta's got wide receivers. Tampa Bay's got wide receivers. New Orleans
Not
got
only
wide
does Tampa Bay have
receivers.
wide receivers, but they actually have a quarterback. Mike Evans. Mike Evans has a quarterback who can hit him in stride now. Think about that. Mike Evans has a quarterback who's not going to throw over his head or behind him or at his feet. He's going to hit him in stride and let him do what he does. And Mike Evans is a freaking animal.
Can I see well with this eye?
Yeah, because now LASIK surgery or not, you have a guy that's going to not make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that, Jameis Winston, but you got to stop throwing these picks.
Oh,
okay?
you mean the crab burglar?
Yes. I mean, look, I don't want to be a quarterback who went 30 touchdowns and 30 picks. Good Lord. Look, the most I'll be excited
Maybe they'll
about,
do a 30 for 30 story on him.
well, the only thing I'll ever be excited about 30 for 30 is 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases. That's about it. But that's the thing, is that's a lot that Dallas has to prove, but there is a crap ton of uncertainty. This is why I think Dallas will go 8-8 again. And I think Philadelphia is going to go 10-6. They fixed their problems in the secondaries. That's why even if Dak tries to control the game, you're not stopping Darius Slay. You're not stopping Jalen Mills. You're going to have a ton of
And
problems.
as much as I hate the Eagles, right? Because I hate the Eagles. Fuck the Eagles, right?
And here's the thing. You want proof?
But the Eagles know how to nut up when they need to.
Here's a better one for everybody watching and listening. You want proof? I spoke to Jalen Mills physically himself, and he is very confident in that Eagles secondary.
Mm-hmm.
He even said it himself, and I was like, whoa. Like, I was blown away by that.
But I think that's a little bit of Doug Peterson, too.
Absolutely.
I think that's why they're like that.
Kareem, if you come out, I got a challenge for you. If you come out to Vegas and when the bet lines are open and you think that the Cowboys will go 10-6 or 11-5, you're going to have to buy me a drink when they don't. You're going to owe me a drink on that one. I'll let you place the bet, but you'll owe me a drink afterward when they go 8-8.
8.
All right, so I'll give you my 5. Right? Because you finished off, Jake, right?
Yeah, I'm good. So that's my 5. Is you got Patrick Mahomes, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, and Justin Herbert.
All right, so I'm going to go. I don't know if I'll put them exactly in order, but I'll just give you the 5 we're going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, because I do think there's potential there. I will go with, what's that, 4? I need one more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with, I think for 3 more or 4 more years, I think Lamar, I think the speed is still going to be there, but there's a big risk. It's a matter of, I don't know if I should put him in there because I don't know if he can increase his completion percentage. If he can get that to 60%, I'll put him in there. Because if he's 60%, if he throws 60%, and he can do what he does with his legs still, that'll still make him a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to get to 60%. And I don't know if he's capable of doing that because he's at 58.5 right now. And to make that jump to 60, that's a pretty big ask. To go a 1.5% increase, that's not easy. But if he can get to 60%, I'll throw him in there as number 5.
Okay.
Because the speed is still going to be there in 3 years. It's not going to go. The speed won't go. The athletic ability, the raw athletic talent will still be there in 3 years, 2 to 3 years. He'll still be raw athletically talented. Athletically talented. But he has to prove that he can throw the football.
Yep.
So those are my 5. I have one final question for you guys, and then we'll end it. Mm-hmm. And we'll go snake draft. So we went so we'll go Jake, you first. Mm-hmm. Give me 3 sleeper teams this year that nobody's paying attention to, but that could knock a big name out of the first round, or a sleeper that is going to surprise some people this year.
So I've been doing a lot of evaluating, and because here's the thing, like, I'll even use NASCAR terms because especially this is what the world needs to realize as well when it comes to certain things in life. You got to learn how to search, evaluate, and execute. Mm-hmm. If you are bypassing execute by the time after search and or you're bypassing evaluate and then you execute, you're not going to be very, very successful. Sorry, bud, but that's not going to get you anywhere up in life. But the three teams that I have evaluated through this is I'll go from 3 to 1. But my third team, this is a make it or break it team as a whole, but I'm going to say the New York Jets. I'm going to say the New York Jets. Listen, a lot of people are probably going to be surprised of me saying this, but listen.
I kind of see that because the talent, I could see that.
because here's the one thing that the Jets have right now. Adam Gase needs to make this thing work. If they lose again, Gase is gone. It's not going to be Sam Darnold out the road because Sam Darnold is a franchise quarterback. Okay, and he'll make this thing
Gase
work.
is
But
a terrible coach.
What is the thing that the Jets fixed? The Jets finally got an offensive line that's better, that I don't have to see Sam Darnold run for his life every time anymore. He can he's a pocket present quarterback. I tell people this, if you give him a good pocket, watch him throw the ball. And also, to add with that, yes, they lost their chances of Robbie Anderson, but they did get Brashad Perryman, but they also did get Denzel Mims from Baylor.
I was just going to say, they got that young kid Mims, right?
I watched this kid, and this kid he's a really good, capable number 2. So you finally have a core as far as wide receiver goes for him to produce. The other thing of it is, too, if the offensive line is getting healthy, I better see better numbers out of Le'Veon Bell. It's nothing against him, and it's nothing against his contract. But from a business standpoint, I'm giving you this contract. Live up to it, please, because I don't want to be.
There's a lot of tread. There's a lot of mileage on those tires, though.
Very much, and that is the point where I don't want to turn around as the general manager and say, was this the right decision to pay him all this money, regardless of all the noise in Pittsburgh? And here's the other thing that the Jets, what they're facing as well, because we know with the Jamal Adams thing, I say, listen, pay him or trade him. That's all I have to say for that. But you are getting C.J. Mosley back. He'll be healthy. The linebacking core will be much better. And Leonard Williams, that defensive front line is going to be stronger. So the Jets are not a team to sleep on my end, because even though, yes, Buffalo is getting tougher, their defense is getting stronger.
Sell high, Jake, on Jamal. Sell high on Jamal. This is as high as his stock's going to be.
Very much.
Asked for 2 firsts. You want him?
Yeah.
You want him? You got him. 2 firsts.
Absolutely. And with those 2 first rounds, I could revamp my defense. I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So that's the one team that I will say, the New York Jets at number 3. Number 2, to me, a team I would not potentially sleep on is I'm putting my team in this one. I would not sleep on the Chargers, because a lot of people are all saying they went 5-11. Yeah, but you know what? When Anthony Lynn first arrived with the Chargers, they went 9-7. Okay,
hey, Jake,
a 9-7 team. Yeah.
Hey, how many of those games they lost last year were 1-score games?
An awful.
It was a lot of games that Phillip Rivers choked in those games.
Yes,
but Anthony Lynn's first year they won.
And here's another thing too.
Right?
Here's another thing too to the Chargers. Do you really believe that Tyrod Taylor is going to be the starter? No.
I don't believe.
At some point in this season, we are going to see Justin Herbert under center.
Of course, and that is why that I've said wait till week 7, week 8 for Justin Herbert to make his appearance behind under center. And that is the thing about the Chargers. So, and this is why I've said all the time that Anthony Lynn is very much a motivated coach than what people do think. Yes, he does have his tendencies, but in order to be a coach in this league, you got to learn how to get through those tendencies and fix those tendencies where they're strengths. So he's having his bit, because the first year, this is after Mike McCoy, and I don't know what the hell that relationship was all about, but they went 9-7. And this was a year that 3 teams went 9-7. And we saw the Bills get in. Are you out of your mind? And this was a Bills team that was not even close to being interesting. Let alone you also watch the Jacksonville Jaguars, who like they were a one and done team. You overhyped them, and then New England put you in your place. So to me,
They
the Chargers
came into New England and peed down their leg.
Yes, and here's the thing: they were 9-7 the first year, 12-4 the second year, 5-11. Yes, they had they may have had a flat tire and they had to take a step back, but this is a team that has gotten stronger in their secondary. We've got a fast line who, honestly, I look at Kenneth Murray like Darius Leonard. A guy that sees a quarterback, sees a running back. He sees whoever has the football in his hands, and he's going to go after you. He's going to scare you with all he's got. And that defensive front line is strong too. But the offense is what I'm proud of. The fact that the offensive line is
lateral
better.
movement. Murray's lateral movement, not so much 40 speed up and down, but lateral across a football field is freaking insane.
And this is why I say to you, Bobby, thank you for that pick. Because here's the thing. I played this two different ways. Okay. They get Justin Herbert and they get Kenneth Murray. I thought for a second, they were going to get Isaiah Simmons and was going to save to get Jordan Love. I would have loved either or of those possibilities because it still would have been the similar outcome. But to me, I'm very happy with the fact that the Chargers are revamping. This is now a new look, and nobody should turn away from this type of team. I'm not overhyping this team, but this is also one that I would not take very, very easily. We know the first 5 games are going to be tough, but what's to say the next 6?
Dude, the first half of the Chargers' schedule is going to test that team a lot.
And this is why I've said this. If the Chargers go 3-1 in the 4-game quadrant, they got this in the bag. They've got this in the bag. How can you say that they couldn't? Now, if they went 2-2, there may be concerns, but I'll be damned if they go 1-3, and that's when it's like, well, we still got problems. And we probably won't retain Joey Bosa and Keenan Allen by next year. That's what's going to be tough if that ever happened. But that's the number 2 team.
I don't think the money will be there to do both.
And that's why you got to do it now. You got to win now. This is what it's prepared for. And when Justin Herbert is ready to play, you better hope that he brings some sort of stuff with the Chargers offense, and I think he will. Now, my number 1 team that I would not sleep on this year, and I thoroughly looked at this one like awfully. But the one team I would not sleep on is the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not sleeping.
Wow, that came out of left field. Why the Colts?
Let me tell you something, okay?
I got them winning the division. They are not a sleeper.
Well, some people would think that Houston or Tennessee but Indianapolis, to me, they had a hell of a draft. They picked up 3 steals of the draft with Jonathan Taylor. They got Michael Pittman Jr. and they also got Jacob Eason. And listen, I said this. Jacob Eason couldn't have found a far better organization to thrive with than Indianapolis because, look, I know that this is potentially Phillip Rivers' last hurrah.
I think it is. I think he's done after this year.
But here's the other benefit is Jacob Eason is at least with the right person. Frank Reich, who backed up Jim Kelly with the Bills, and he's an offensive coordinating coach. He's going to fix all the flaws that Jacob Eason had, even when he was playing at Washington. He's got potential. He's got a great arm strength, and I think could very much change up this offense. And now that they have a second wide receiver, so we don't have to overly rely on T.Y. Hilton all the time.
And I like Frank. I like Frank Wright. He's a big reason why the Eagles were as successful as they were.
Very much so. And here's the other thing too. Even Frank Wright.
A huge reason why the Eagles were as good as they were.
Yeah, and even Frank Reich, like he spoke highly about Phillip Rivers, even in the time when they went 12-4. I mean, that was a guy who knew how to set the system up, and sometimes that's just how it is in the NFL if you got the right systems working for you. So that's where I only say that as a potential sleeper because there are people who may think, Houston's gonna do something, or Tennessee, with the Ryan Tannehill and the Derrick Henry signing. But it's like, look, I like Tennessee, but if they can't get themselves out of 9-7 again, or potentially double-digit wins, that's why I have Indianapolis as just a team that can go red hot, and maybe a team that they play this right. They could be a championship team.
Jake, and the coach agrees. We've talked about this. That Ryan Tannehill deal is a massive gamble. That is a huge gamble.
It is. Look, I would have been fine with the franchise tag. I would have been fine with that, because the way that I look at Derrick Henry is I look at him as the modern day Earl Campbell. He's strong. He's built. He can.
Coach said the same thing.
He can run. He can absolutely run. But what I love about Tennessee is that Mike Vrabel, you couldn't have asked for a better defensive coordinating coach. Kevin Byard was the reason why too. They shut down passes.
Mm-hmm.
They shut down, and I hate to say this, they shut down Tom Brady. They
shut
down Lamar Jackson.
If you listen to the sideline footage, Jake, if you listen to the Mike Dub stuff, they had no answer for the Tennessee D. They had no answer.
No,
for
they
it.
did not. Yeah, they had no answer. And look, even the Kansas City game,
and they knew it at half. They knew it at the half that they just they were going to get bet, and they couldn't. They had no answer. They couldn't dink and dunk their way with Tennessee the way they've done it, forever. And the defensive front wasn't good enough to stop Henry. Henry was averaging 5.4 yards a carry in that game. The front four couldn't stop Henry. Henry would break into the second level, and it would take a linebacker and a third corner to bring him down. And that's 8 yards down the field already. The front four couldn't do it.
No. Yeah, they couldn't even do it. But that's my three right there. I definitely think the New York Jets is one to not sleep on, because this is a make it or break it season for the team as a whole. I mean, the only person you hold accountable is Adam Gase. And whatever happens with Jamal Adams at the end of the day, I only hope that he stays because of the potential that the Jets have. I mean, Buffalo's getting better. Miami is getting better. I still never underestimate New England, only because of just the coaching method of Bill Belichick and how he figures it. Because I even said this about New England.
But that's not a sleeper.
No, absolutely not. But I will say this: take back to a couple of quarterbacks when Tom Brady had something going on, like the suspension, for instance. Matt Castle had a
11-5 with Matt Castle.
They were 11-5. And what was his completion percentage? 64, 65?
64 point something, yeah.
64%.
Just to be a troll, that's better than Dak Prescott.
And let me add two more quarterbacks to the mix.
That's better than Dak.
Let me add two more quarterbacks.
Brissett and Garoppolo went 3-1 under him.
And Jimmy Garoppolo was 70% completion, and Jacoby Brissett was about 63.
Mm-hmm.
What is to say Jarrett Stidham or Cam Newton? And look, I'm not saying highly, because I know his completion percentage is about 59. But on a one-year deal, what if Bill Belichick changes Cam Newton's game? If you get Cam 64%, he's going to get offers. That's better than 59.
Hey, if Cam goes 62% this year, 60, let's say 62.5% this year, he's going to get big money.
He's going to get big offers. And that's the other thing too about, potentially Jarrett Stidham. A lot of unknowns about this kid, but whether with or without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, again, the architect, knows how to make this thing work. Mm-hmm. So Jets, the Jets, the Chargers, and the Colts for me are my three sleepers.
There, Coach K.
Ooh, man,
Who are your three?
My three. I think I can see the Dolphins making some noise because I like Brian Flores. I think he's a really good coach. I think they're putting their they're building that offensive line and getting to us some weapons, and they finally got their quarterback after a long time. You know, I think defensively they're not bad. I mean, I really do think the Dolphins will be a kind of a sleeper team, just, you know, being able to beat people they're not supposed to, you know. Again, just because I think they finally got a quarterback that can do it in Tua, and they got weapons around him. You know, my second one, I think, and I don't know if you call this a sleeper team, but the Cardinals, you know, Arizona, you know, I mean, crap, you got Kyler Murray in year 2 with Cliff Kingsbury. You just added probably, and we agree, the best
receiver in the game,
in the league, on top of, you know, Fitz and Christian Kirk. You know, defensively, I think they got better. And so I think the Cardinals, you know, again, the only thing that hurts the Cardinals is that NFC West is just a freaking gauntlet. You know, just to get out of their division is just, it's going to be tough. But I think the Cardinals have the talent to do it. And my last sleeper, man, this one I kind of struggle with. You know, and I'll go and I'll say it. You know, I don't know. This one's hard for me. Probably I would go with the. I know. Hell, let's just go with it. The Washington football team, whatever name they're going to be called. Now, here's my thought. Here's my thought on it.
If I could throw something at you, I would throw something at you.
Now, hey,
You should probably throw the dildos up at him,
No doubt.
especially.
Yeah, oh yeah.
hey, I'm saying
Throw it at him. I just smack him right across
Now-
the face with it, bro.
As this Ansari would say, where is it coming? Everywhere.
yeah. Here's my thought. Their defense has gotten a lot better. You know, defensively, I think their defense will keep them in games. You know,
It could.
yeah.
It
I
could.
like Dwayne. I think Dwayne Haskins is going to be the guy for that franchise. I like him.
I have no faith in him. None.
I mean, and again, I think just looking at their defense is more than anything what I kind of
Yeah.
looked at is
Yeah.
I think defensively, I think their defense can keep them in games they shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, probably the best pass rusher to come out of Ohio State in Chase Young, you know, come off the edge, which it's going to help a ton getting pressure on quarterbacks in that division, especially with Daniels, Wentz, and Dak.
No, I think I could. I mean, I understand the logic.
Now,
Now, will it happen? Probably not.
So who are your three? Who are your three, Coach?
I said the Washington football team, whatever they're going to be called, the Cardinals, and the Dolphins.
All right, go for it, D. What you got?
so the first team that I'm gonna go with, and this is no order. People might say that's not a sleeper team, but my Las Vegas Raiders are a sleeper team.
I think you guys fly. I think you fly below the radar a lot.
We fly below the radar
They
because
do.
of Derek Carr. And people keep saying how Derek Carr is this and Derek Carr is that. 70% completion percentage, 4,000 passing yards, only 8 interceptions, with no number one receiver. I rest my case. I rest my case.
I'm with Darian on that one.
But on top of that,
No, I'll
got-
say this: people disrespected Derek Carr a lot. Like they
on top of that, they disrespect us because not even disrespect us, but the fact we didn't make the playoffs. The year before, we won 4-12. We won 7-9 last year. That's an improvement, ain't it?
I don't like y'all's coach either. I think Chucky can't coach in today's NFL. Sorry, man.
I mean, if you look at it, what John Gruden did with Josh Jacobs in 13 games with 1,500 rushing yards, it should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year, but we're not going to argue about that because I feel like he should have beat Kyler Murray, in my personal opinion. We have a defense that's very young. We have Nick
I think that was
Kowalski.
part of you guys' problem last year. Was the D was so young.
We had the worst linebacking core in football. Then we went out and got Corey Littleton, Nick Kowalski,
Yeah,
and then we drafted Tanner Muse.
yeah,
So that revamped the whole linebacking core. Then you add veterans to our back end with a
Yeah.
Demarius Randall and a Prince Mukamara
yeah.
to go along with our rookie Damon Arnett and our second-year player Trayvon Mullen.
Yeah.
Now we have LaMarcus Joyner, true. And LaMarcus Joyner, we're still trying to figure him out. We did sign Jeff Heath and Jonathan Abrams coming back.
Mm-hmm.
That defensive line,
Yeah.
Carl Nasbitt, Max
Yeah.
Crosby, Malik Collins, Maurice Hurst, Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah.
We got depth at every position. And we got one of the
Yeah.
best offensive lines in football and the best center in football, Rodney Hudson. Stop putting us under the radar. The numbers don't lie. That's all I got to say.
So you had the Raiders and you had who else?
So the Raiders. Oh, I forgot. Oh, Henry Ruggs, Lynn Bowden, and Brian Edwards. Good acquisitions in the draft.
Yeah.
The second one, I'm gonna go left field on this one.
Real.
But I've really been feeling like this is going to be the year for the New York Giants. I really feel it for the New York Giants. Saquon
Hey,
Barkley's going to be 100%
Jones,
healthy.
Daniel Jones surprised the hell out of me. A guy from Duke throwing 27 touchdowns. That's pretty good.
And you have damn near the best running back in football in
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley. And he's coming back 100% healthy.
And they revamped their O-line this year too. Coming in, they're going to have a rebuilt offensive line. If Jones isn't going to have to worry about running for his life, it's going to get interesting.
Right. And I like the wide receiver Slayton.
Mm-hmm.
He came through clutch in the end of the year. Golden Tate, I'm not really too big on. But I think that defense got revamped as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Giants is going to be a sleeper team. I like Joe Judge. I think he's bringing a different culture to Giants football. I love it. I think they're going to be a sleeper.
I think Joe Judge is going to be a big part of why that team wins or succeeds or fails. I think a lot of it's on him.
And between you and I, Bobby, we will both be the judge of that, especially when it comes to coaching trees.
Right.
Well, we all know Belichick's coaching tree very hit or miss. Very hit or miss.
The only one that I know for a fact, and Coach K mentioned it. I mean, look, don't sleep on Brian Flores. He did make a point about that. I mean, Brian Flores, that defense in the last 5 games actually played real good without Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, you still had Xavier Howard, and now you got Byron Jones, and we'll see what happens.
So, Darren, you gave your 5. You're 3, right? You gave your 3. Right?
I gave 2.
All right, so you need what? You got
So
one more.
Raiders, Giants, and number 3, I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons. People must forget they signed Todd Gurley in their running game. Todd Gurley,
you mean the dude with like half a leg?
he probably won't listen. He's going to play with some enthusiasm. He's playing back in his hometown in Georgia, where he played in college at. He's going to be wanting to play. You got Julio Jones, you got Calvin Ridley.
Until week 5, and the wheels fall off the bus, and it comes to a screeching halt.
I don't think so. I think that Matt Ryan gets back to form. And mind you, Devontae Freeman was not really that good in Atlanta. So our running back was always the biggest issue with that offense.
You know what Todd Gurley's like? Todd Gurley's like buying a Ferrari with a blown engine.
But he's playing on a proven deal. He's playing on a listen. He's playing on a. He's playing on a
Because
proven
from
deal.
the outside, right? From the outside, that Ferrari looks real nice. It's got real shiny,
And
real
really-
nice shiny rims, right?
I'm gonna let it be
And,
known.
and the paint is perfect. The there's no chips or dings anywhere. And then you go to start that motherfucker up, and it goes poof, and the whole thing just blows up.
And the performance is like a Kia.
I'm gonna say this though. We really want to talk about, if you want to talk about that, Jake, because that's how Phillip Rivers is. Phillip Rivers can't get started.
God, no.
Phillip Rivers can't get started. At least Todd Gurley can get started. You got hold on.
You start that Ferrari up, and there'd be white smoke and squealing, and there'd be a blown head gasket. There'd be
Listen,
shit
here's-
leaking
here's
out
the-
the bottom of that
Listen,
motor.
Here's a funny thing for you. I remember being on the corner of in a townhome, and I remember witnessing out my window a nice, beautiful orange Lambo. And my God, the thing freaking broke down that the guy didn't even know how to use it, so he had to call a tow company. For it.
No. This is Phillip Rivers. Hold on. Before Jake to say anything, this is Phillip Rivers. And
Oh
And-
Lord!
he doesn't even start.
Phillip Rivers is that 1987 Toyota Camry that you got to crawl under and hit the starter with a wrench.
Oh
Man,
my God!
Phillip
Okay, so
Phillip Rivers is like
okay,
a
so
19,
you know,
he's like a 1985 Monte Carlo.
you know what, okay, so you want to go a step above. Okay, well, here's a funny thing. Like, listen, let's talk about all these Raider quarterbacks, because the Raiders quarterbacks remind me of a Fiat. It says "Fix it again, Todd." Fix it again, Todd. DeMarcus Russell, Matt McGloin. Good God, Matt Tuiasosopo. Bruce Gronkowski. Fuck! You
You want to talk about that, right? Cool. But y'all playing in a soccer field. Soccer field.
Either way, we were able to at least keep our quarterback for years. Almost turned into Cleveland football.
And he threw like 8 interceptions in the 2 games he played against the Raiders last year.
It reminds me of a Fiat. That shit was hilarious.
Come on, we get some popcorn.
Fix
But-
it again, Todd.
Listen,
I just
Todd
dude,
Martello's getting it started.
but you know what I mean. Like there's
on him.
Gurley scares the crap out of me because there's a lot of miles on that dude.
But I'm telling you this though, I like the fact that he got to play on a proven contract.
Yeah.
And on top of that, this is my hot take. The Rams are going to regret releasing Todd Gurley this year. He's not going to get back to his almost his Super Bowl form, but he's going to be better than last year. That's my hot take.
Until week 4.
He could have played better if he wasn't paid overload. That's why you gotta like Todd Gurley, because Todd Gurley likes to play nice. He likes to play nice.
Are you serious?
If you're gonna end up paying high amounts of money for that, I would have settled for I don't know, Derrick Henry money if you're gonna bust through lines. I'll be honest.
It's not bad to sign him.
I'm just being honest.
I'm not talking about running back payouts because, in my personal opinion, running back shouldn't be paid because they don't last that long. That's my personal opinion. I played running back in my time, and I didn't last long. So yeah,
But like you know what I mean? Like what's the average lifespan of an NFL running back's like 3 years? Like
3 to 6.
But you know what I mean? It's like that's the average span, 3 to 4 years.
Right.
But before the high level performance starts dropping.
All right, so I do like the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're gonna be a sleeper. I think they're going to compete in the NFC South, but they might be a wild card. I'm not really big on the Carolina Panthers. I'm not big on them. I'm not big on the Carolina Panthers.
No, the Panthers still got a lot of work. They still got a lot of work to do.
They got a lot of work to do. So that's 3. So another one.
No, you're good. That's all. I just said 3.
Oh, you said
You're good.
3. Okay. I thought I had another one in my head. But Raiders, Giants, Falcons.
So I'm gonna go. Coach, me and you have talked about it. Where I'm gonna have to say the Dolphins are gonna be one team because out of the coaches that have come out of Foxborough, Flores and Vrabel are the two I think have the most potential. They've shown that that the big spots don't bother them. Mike Vrabel trolled Bill Belichick on national television. That should just go to show you he's got the spotlight don't bother him to make.
He's got the it.
Yeah, the spotlight. He'll make the hard calls when he needs to. So and I do like Jake. The Dolphins figured shit out the last 6 games of the season. They figured it out. They looked like a night and day football team. Those final 6 games of the season, they were beating or competing with teams that they should have never even been close with.
And now they have a quarterback.
Yeah, and which is why that people that think, oh, this team's gonna tank. No. I don't think the word tanking would have.
It just took them 9 weeks to figure shit out.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing: they didn't just pick Tua; they earned Tua. The fact that you end up playing a defense like that in the last 6 games, get this damn team a special quarterback, and they finally did. And I think that's where he'll thrive with that.
And let's be honest, right? The quarterbacks that we were talking about before the Tua injury, it was who was it? Tua was in the conversation.
It was tank for Tua.
Tank for Tua was the entire conversation.
But that's what I mean.
Hey, look, I'll be honest
so
with
just
you.
because he had, was it a bad injury? Yeah, but the skill set's still there. It's not like that shit went away.
Believe me, I remember being at one of the distilled bars when I ended up watching the Chargers embarrass themselves on Monday Night Football against Kansas City with Phillip Rivers' 6 picks, and the only thing I can remember was standing out of my chair and say, "Tua, I hope that hip is healthy, man." Because if that's the case, either way, if Tua was going to either end up with the Dolphins or the Chargers, I'm happy enough that he even ended up somewhere, much like Miami. That I think he'll still.
I think Flores and him are going to do real good. I think Flores is going to be
Flores doesn't even have to worry much about Tua, much like Tua won't even have to worry much about Flores.
Right. Yeah. And the big, if you listen to a lot of those Miami guys down there, or those prior Patriots, they Kyle Van Noy will say, all those guys that are down there, they'll say dude, we play for bro, he's a likable dude, and he gets, he's just, I think he there's a lot of potential there. So I think Miami's gonna beat some teams that nobody will even put them in the game with. I think they have the potential to do that. Mm-hmm. So I'll put them in there as one. Coach, I'm gonna go or I think Darian said it. I'm gonna go with the Giants as well. I think Joe Judge is gonna be a good fresh start. I think the attitude. I have a lot of Giants fans, Bad Dog and the Entertainer, and a lot of those Giant content creators have said that the entire mentality of that team has, since Judge and the new coaching staff was ushered in there, has changed. And when you change a culture like that for the better, it usually shows on the field. Mm-hmm. And with Jones throwing 27 touchdowns last year, I said I had a hot take. I said 35 plus for Jones this year. 35. I said 35 plus and 14.
Wow, that's a good take. That is a good take. But here's the thing: the only thing that I could say that
what if he throws 37 touchdowns and 15 or 14?
I'll be blown
picks?
away.
Yeah,
I'll be blown away by that much, because again, a quarterback, that was just rookie year alone. Imagine what year 2 is going to look like for these young quarterbacks. That's why I'm
think of how many balls think about how many balls were dropped for Jones.
Yeah,
his receivers dropped a lot of footballs last year.
Oh, they did, and you have to think about it. Like injuries was played into it, but
Yeah.
ultimately,
He
yeah,
didn't
you got to
have Golden
step up.
Tate for like 5 games.
Yep, Darius Slayton, and of course, Corey Coleman.
Yeah.
But that'll be interesting. My only take with Joe Judge is if he performs much like how John Harbaugh did in Baltimore,
Yeah.
then I'll say he can coach.
Yeah.
I'll say he can coach.
Yeah.
Because look,
But-
we'll be honest, anybody can coach. Anybody can out-coach Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
if Joe Judge does this right in New York, can we please finally have a savior in New York for once? If it's not going to be the
Yeah,
Knicks,
yeah.
if it's not going to be Brooklyn or any of them, come on.
So
I think
third
so.
team,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. The last team I'll say I want to give it a tie, kind of a 2-way tie.
Okay.
One team has a lot more potential than the like one team, it's a more of a reach. I'm going to say either the Broncos or the Chargers could be sleepers. And it all depends on the quarterback play. Drew Lock and Herbert, because I'm saying Herbert because Tyrod Taylor is not going to
And
play.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
But you
I'm
know,
okay
you know what I
with-
mean? You know what I mean though, Jake? Do you
Yeah.
really think that they're going to entrust the entire 16-game season to Tyrod Taylor? Probably not.
No, and I'm honest with that too, because here's the thing: we've seen Tyrod Taylor with Buffalo, we've seen Tyrod Taylor with Cleveland. He's not he's no stranger when it comes to things like this. He knows that when it comes to not potential rebuild, but building for better. And that's
you know what-
why
you know what the
Buffalo
thing is,
got
though?
what they wanted.
You know what you're getting with Tyrod Taylor. You know the ceiling. You know where it's at. With Herbert, let's say Herbert lights it up on the practice field and he has
Does something like Daniel Jones.
But that's what I mean. Like think about like every week he just gets better and better and better, and by week like 6, you say, "All right, kid, you know what?" and let him go.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
Herbert, my biggest concerns with Herbert can be coached out of him. You know what I mean? The concerns that I have are the same that the same knocks that he got crushed on in college. You know, too risky. You know, too risky under pressure. You know, unnecessarily throwing into traffic. Not good on the run. You know what I mean? Doesn't throw across his body well. All that stuff you can coach. You can teach it. You can coach that stuff out of him, or at least make it to a point where it's not going to hurt him or hurt the team. You know, I think Herbert's ceiling is higher than Tyrod Taylor's, and that point alone, Anthony Lynn's going to at some point in the season just be like, "All right, we have to give him a shot. We have to."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I had to break it down to almost every Charger fan, and even I'm sure for like content guys, that this is this is the plan. This is the blueprint.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be upset about that because that's what it's all been about. Tyrod is not the future. I already
No.
know that. Justin
Not
Herbert
a chance.
is very much the future of this franchise.
I can tell you, I've seen as a play in the Bills, we've seen Taylor and I mean, why not? You know, at week 7, why not why not give the kid a shot? We know what Tyrod Taylor is.
Yeah.
We know
And-
what our ceiling is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the funny thing, because, and look, if you guys, I'm not sure, but you guys are fantasy football guys, but this has always been my strategy when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. I always draft the rookie quarterbacks somewhere in about the middle to late, because I just already know by seeing how this kid performs in college and what his mindset and his skills are, give it about right there halfway of the season, if not
Yeah.
week 6. And by the time he's ready to start and he lights it up, you're already going to be like, oh, moving this guy over to tier 2, or maybe I'm moving him to tier 1 on my quarterback list, because that's just how the impact of these quarterbacks have been now. This is a new, fresh league. How could you not be excited about that for the next season if we have it?
And let's be honest, the Chargers would not have made the moves they made in the offseason if they weren't intending on putting Justin Herbert under center.
Oh, by far.
They would not have made the moves they made if they weren't intending on saying, we're going to use Tyrod We're gonna put a clipboard in Herbert's hands for the first 6 weeks.
Yep.
Let him see how fast the game progresses. You know, what I mean, we're gonna bring him on slow, and then when we think he's ready, he's gonna start.
Absolutely. I mean that's exactly the same outlook that I have for the Chargers, and something that I'll explain as well.
Your show's tomorrow, right?
Yep, my show is tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific and 10 a.m. Eastern.
All right, cool. Coffee and football.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm going to have a lot to talk about, talking about the 3 recent contract extensions. Going to be breaking that down. And, of course, I know we had a lot of people in the comments, but I'll have my pure honesty about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. You know, and
I think we can all agree that this Dak, in order to earn big money, has to prove that he can win under pressure.
You have to, regardless of who the head coach is, regardless of who you have in front of you. Jerry
Regardless
Jones
of the team. The team doesn't
regardless
matter.
of the team. Yeah, it doesn't.
If you don't perform in the brightest lights on the biggest stage, you don't get paid.
Yeah, you don't get paid.
That's a fact.
And if you don't make it to that big stage, don't even think about asking to get paid like that.
Exactly. And especially when you're going to let teams like Philadelphia play with lawn chairs, and they're going to upset you and make the playoffs.
And run through you.
And listen, you had multiple opportunities. You had opportunities against Philly. You had opportunities against New England. You had opportunities against teams who played over 500.
Yeah.
Okay, this is also what I meant about Alabama football, because you're going to play these 5 cupcake games, but then by the time you faced against a team like, I don't know, over the years, like,
and then puff your chest out and then you puff your chest out about beating a cupcake 56-6.
Right, and then you're going to come around and you're going to get upsetted by Auburn years ago, and then you're going to get upsetted by LSU. Mm-hmm. Like.
But let's end the show, Jake. Where can they find you at, man? What's the name of your channel? Where can they go and take a look at your show at?
So where you can find me at, you guys can end up finding me on the network, on the Spotlight Sports Network. That is the home of the Snake Sports Talk Show. You can subscribe to both those channels on YouTube. You could also like me and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I post daily on social media platforms. You can also catch up.
You tweet all your videos out, right? You put them in the.
Yep, I tweet my videos out. I even tweet out some of the breaking news and posts as well, and even for some that just speak out my mind. Also, you can follow me on Spotify as well, even if you couldn't possibly, tune in. Let's say you got a graveyard shift and you couldn't tune into the show, but at least there will be a platform there where you can recap on some shows listening on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts.
If you miss one, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So you can just find me anywhere, but finding me by the licensed Spotlight Sports Network. That's where you can find me.
Darian, where you at? Where can they get you? Where can they subscribe to you at, man?
Well, they can actually subscribe to me.
You have a few channels,
Spotlight
don't you?
Radio,
yeah, the Spotlight Radio Talk. Where'd he go?
Out again.
All right, so Darian is the Spotlight Raiders Talk, and then it's Spotlight Sports Talk. So if you guys don't have him subscribed, go and check Darian out. Especially if you're especially if you're a Raider fan or a 76ers fan, that's the dude you wanna be subscribed to. Mm-hmm. There he is. He back.
I don't know what the heck happened there, but
So you have a couple of channels, don't you, D?
I actually run the Spotlight Sports Network. Spotlight Sports Network is the new channel that we have for all our colleagues like Jake, Key in the Building, EJ, Malguli. That is the squad right there for the Spotlight Sports Network. That's where all the sports, as far as like NBA live play-by-play and reactions, it's going to be on that channel now. And then I have the Spotlight Raiders Talk, what I did change the name because I felt like the Raiders content was being more better, on that channel than me starting a whole third channel, which was the Silver and Black podcast.
Yeah.
Which that channel is deleted at this moment. But Spotlight Raiders Talk is the official channel.
That's like the flag. That's like the flagship station, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
flagship station.
Spotlight Raiders Talk is the main one, but I'm focusing more on the Spotlight Sports Network now since the NBA is coming back.
It's come. Yep. Okay, cool.
And this upcoming week, we do have shows coming up this week. Mondays, we have the Bench Report with EJ and Jake. On Mondays, on Wednesdays, we have the Spotlight and Snake Sports Talk Show. On Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then Fridays, we have the D and Key Philly Sports Talk Show with at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. And Saturdays,
And
we have
that's
the
that's
wrestling
strictly
show.
Philly stuff, right?
That's strictly
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia sports, yup. And that
All right,
all
cool.
would be on the Spotlight Sports Network.
All right. Cool.
And one more thing I just want to put out there. I don't know if y'all saw a lot of my videos at the beginning about this thing called FTFN. It's called Fan to Fan Network. The website has officially launched for Fan to Fan Network that I am a brand ambassador for the Las Vegas Raiders through Fan to Fan Network. So if y'all do want to check it out, it's fantofannetwork.com. You can see all the teams as brand ambassadors for all 32 teams of the NFL.
And what do
Jake,
they
I'm-
just click on your name?
Well, no, you just go to teams and go to Raiders, and everything I have on my YouTube channel, I have on the FTF network.
All right. Cool. So it's just a different platform for them to listen to you.
Not really listen, but it's more like an SEO WordPress. Because
Cool. Okay,
I have my
gotcha.
videos, but I really write out the articles as well.
Oh, cool. There you go. So if they want to read the stuff too, yeah, cool. All right, cool. Coach, where can they get you at, brother?
Well, at the other Coach K, we've me and Bobby kind of knocked out two UFC streams last 5 days.
The last 5 days we covered. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm kind of starting to get into the making the videos. I was on Bobby's channel for quite a bit of stuff, but I'm starting to kind of make some content and I'm trying to get this thing kind of going. I'm getting bored.
He's just getting his channel built up, man. He's just getting going. I tell you one thing, if you're a UFC fan, that is the dude to talk to. He knows he is
I don't want to
diehard UFC fan.
I don't want to throw this up there, but I'm gonna shoot my shot on this one. Spotlight Sports Network is a platform for Boston sports in UFC. I'm just saying. I mean, Jake can tell you, it ain't nothing like what we was before, Bobby.
Yep.
It's nothing like that. It's freelance as hell.
Absolutely. It's very, very freelance. It's very
freelance.
balanced, very, the more you bring in the content, I mean, that's what we're hungry for. We're hungry for a lot of the good content and the good quality, viewership and everything else. What you bring in, that's exactly what's going to help it grow. That's what we
And
look for.
we're looking for somebody that's far as Patriots and Boston sports. So
Everybody's looking for hey man,
No,
jump on the bandwagon is big, man. I'm driving this motherfucker. It's a big ass bus. You can get that. You got a free ticket, man. Jump on this.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Bobby,
I'll
it's
pop those
me,
damn
man.
tires. I'll pop those damn tires on the damn bus. Shit.
Listen, I'm not really big on UFC, so that's why I really don't do much of it. But
Yeah.
if I could find if the other Coach K is interested, listen, I love UFC. I love college football. But we don't have nobody for it. I got so much going on. Listen, before Jake and Key in the building, I was a one-man band. I was doing all the editing, running 3 channels at the time, and running all the social medias from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I was doing all that.
And this is what's kind of funny about how the both of us ended up meeting because
Through Instagram.
Because Darren saw my content that I put out there, and he automatically just like we just started clicking because part of his mind, he threw it out there in a couple comments and then just interacted from there and was just like, Jake, I need to get you on a live stream. And sure enough, he brought me aboard on the live stream. And then that was when just everything kind of took off from there. And to where now I have a home where, my show grows and it grows the network as well. I mean, people can't stop ranting and raving about it every weekend about everything I got to say about it, and so that's the best thing.
We'll talk, Bobby. We'll talk off the air. We'll talk.
All right, man. This was a lot of fun, though, fellas. It was a good show.
I would love to come back on the show, man. Whenever you want me, you got me, man.
Come on, man. It's an open. It's an open invite.
Oh, listen, I'm ready for it. Listen, I've been working all
man,
day on this, man.
I've recently, like, I found you through Darian stuff. I could get you back on the show too for sure.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to do this again.
Well, yeah. Well, that's gonna happen. Next time we're gonna have some adult beverages involved.
Hey,
I had no beer this time. But next time I'm gonna have me. This one's empty because I drank it before the show, but I'm gonna have me my 26-ounce Blue Moons.
Listen, I may have to one up you and just drinking this actually, I tried it today. This is the basil, the
Basil Hayden, right?
Basil Hayden with some Coke right up in. Oh man, it was the best. But listen, man, like, yeah. And here was the funny thing. I mean, before everything kind of hit, Darian was actually excited when the NFL draft was happening. It was going to be here in Vegas. We had all of this planned out. He was going to come out. He probably would have stayed in a hotel, or we probably would have worked something out. But this was going to be a stacked show. The fact that Snake Sports Talk Show was colliding with, the Spotlight Raiders and everybody that was involved. It was going to be a stacked show because we would have been out there, gotten our gear, and would have been able to find a spot to just talk about it and really kind of research and review all the draftees. It was going to be a hell of a party. And he would have loved seeing Allegiant Stadium because, listen, I'm 15 minutes away from the stadium, and it's right there close.
Hey, how far is Tennessee from Vegas?
A long ass way.
It's long.
No, but I mean, like, flight-wise. What's it, like an hour flight, maybe? Hour and a half?
No, not even.
It's a 2-hour flight from Midland to Vegas.
Because I know this. I got a brother and sister-in-law that live in Cookeville up in Tennessee. And I know it. Yeah, I think it took them like maybe 2.5.
Yeah, I would say that.
All right. Because I may be in your boy might be in Tennessee next year. Next summer. So that's a little closer than Boston.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing that idea out there. That's a little closer than Boston.
Yeah, you're up there. You're up there, Bobby.
I believe it. Like I said, I've done trips from here to New York, and my God, it's long.
Yeah. It's like a 6-hour flight.
Just to be able to get to JFK, come and get my baggage claim, and then I got to go in and take the train all the way from Penn Station to Ronkonkoma. Like,
it's ridiculous.
Why would you ever land in that cesspool that is New York City?
I mean, listen, I could have settled for LaGuardia, but you know what? I mean, either or would have worked.
I take it back. New York's not that bad. New Jersey is a cesspool.
New Jersey is bad. Yeah.
That whole state smells like somebody didn't flush a toilet for a month.
Oh Lord.
Try coming to Philly.
There's no way I'm going to Philly because I would die. Because if I went to Philly, I'd have every piece of Patriots gear that I own on, and I'd be smearing it in every one of them Eagle fans' faces.
Oh my God!
I would have tendinitis. I would have tendinitis from flipping people off so much.
About to give him the Stone Cold salute.
I would have tendinitis, and I would wear my car horn out.
Listen, I think they wouldn't say much about Patriots gear, but if you come down there with Cowboys gear, then you're gonna be dealt with.
Oh,
and
man.
and I'd probably throw up before I'd put a Patriots jersey on.
Good God. You know, it's funny
it
because
would
I keep
probably make me physically sick to put
Listen,
the Cowboys
Hold
jersey.
up, hold
Listen.
up, hold up, Jake. Speaking of Boston, I don't know if you saw, Bobby, on ESPN, the documentary of the women's football team in Boston.
I heard about it. The semi-pro team, right?
Yeah, the women's, the Boston Renegades.
Yeah, the Renegade. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know a few people on that team, so I might be interviewing a few.
There you go.
You know, I.
They have the Renegades, and then they have the what's it called? They have the Arena League down there too. The Cannons, I think, or something like that. There's the Arena League football down there. No, Pirates.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know a few people from the Boston Renegades, and it was good to see them on ESPN. It was a great documentary. Me and Jake talked about it on this show.
You know, Philly's not too far from me. I may have to save some fun, but I may have to put a slush fund aside, and just for you, bro. Just like I might be sick walking through that city and all that Kelly Green everywhere.
No, Kelly, don't say a lot of Kelly Green.
Baby diarrhea green. Yeah, that might. But I would deal with it. I would. Just for you, bro. I might do it.
Listen, I'll take you to South Street. You get the best cheesesteaks in Philly, and we can go to Fat Tuesdays and get a nice slushy drink, and you'll be fine.
I have a feeling once I walk into the first restaurant, I'll be all right. And the food, and I eat, and I won't have to eat for like 3 days.
Yeah, because you get huge behind Philly cheesesteaks. They really huge.
Dude, somebody sent me a picture of one of is it Mike's? What's the place down there's
It's a few of them.
Yeah, they sent me a Philly cheesesteak in Philly when they were there playing. They were, I think it was lacrosse. They were up there doing lacrosse, and they sent me a picture. And dude, I swear to God, it was like it had to have been 2.5 feet long. It was massive. It was the biggest sandwich I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's a few places out here that will give you those nice and long pause. I didn't mean to say it like that, but you know what I mean. I didn't mean to say it like that, but y'all know what I meant.
Yeah.
We got great
Just
Philly
just
cheesesteaks.
like it's literally like a massive like like
It's like a
you
massive
take a bite
sub.
and it doesn't even it's like this is gonna take me 3 days to eat.
Yeah, about 3 days. That's about right.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people. Like I know everybody was going to be super excited to just be partying out in Vegas, man. Seriously, like I just tell people, I'm like, why wouldn't people want to, not want to come to Vegas? Like, come on now.
Oh,
There's
hell
lots
no.
there's lots and lots of places up out here, man. And I told him, I'm like, look, I told Darian, hey, I'll show you the stadium. It's right there. We'll drive right by. Because look, I've been to 13 Vegas Golden Knights games, man, and I've been to one playoff game. And that was that first playoff win against the LA Kings. Like
hey,
that was
Jake.
awesome.
I'll have to get back with you when hockey starts, and we'll talk Bruins and Knights and the playoff.
Oh, I'm down for that because I would love to know what's going to happen with Boston and with this David Pastrnak thing.
See, here's what I think. Right? They don't want it to get out. We'll end the show on this, right? I think Pastrnak.
Y'all see that, right? It says, stop one thing from ever happening to the Raiders. The Franco Harris catch, the tuck rule, John Gruden going to Tampa Bay, or Derek Carr breaking his leg.
The misery of a Raider fan right there. Holy crap.
I hate to do it, right? So like the tuck rule happens, right? Then Chucky leaves and wins a Super Bowl with the Bucks, right?
And beat
Oh,
us
God.
knowing that his offensive coordinator was our head coach.
Yeah.
He knew everything. He knew everything.
I know.
Terrible. Terrible.
Oh, that was fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was.
That was a
definitely
good
fun.
show,
that
fellas.
was a ton of fun.
Jake, definitely, man. When hockey gets back going, we'll talk some Knights and some Bruins and some hockey playoffs.
For sure. I'm down for that, man. I'm ready
I'm
for
down
it.
for some Flyers.
Are y'all even in it?
It
Yeah,
doesn't
they are.
matter. We are. It
Are
doesn't
you in
matter.
it?
They're in it. They're right now the number 4 team in the East.
Oh, that's
Because what they caught fire was Carter Hart started playing really
that's
good.
right at the end, but right before,
Yep.
yeah, that's right.
Right
They
before
did.
COVID.
Yeah,
and I'm
they
and
cut-
I'm gonna make a point, and this is a strong point. I think this year is gonna belong to Vegas.
not
cannot-
before you beat the Bruins.
Oh, here we go.
You just got to find the open holes. You got to find the open holes.
All day.
I mean, look, the offense got better, the defense got better, and I made this point. I actually spoke about this up on Twitter, where it was the close 6-5 win when Malcolm Subban was goaltending, and I was just like, yeah, great win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas acquired goaltending.
It shocked me how well Vegas did in their first year. Like that dude.
Oh, it did.
That was, and not only that, they're back in it again. They're right back in the mix again. Like clearly, they're doing something right there in Vegas. Clearly,
Well, and I think that the biggest thing is look, I will say this to be honest, like, the first time that we had this team, I think the first year was a complete. I just think that the first year caught us by surprise, but I think it was a fluke.
do you
the only
really? They
reason-
caught lightning in a bottle kind of deal and just ran with it.
Yes, because here's the thing. Look, I've had my personal experience. I've had friends of mine who were down at that concert, and thank God each and every single one of them were okay. And I still mourn for the ones that couldn't be here after everything went down. But after that happened, that first year, Vegas needed to find a new identity. You can't just say constant Vegas strong as it continuing to be your battle cry, but yet you're struggling offensively. Defensively didn't seem great. That's why I'm like the Stone acquisition woke the team up. The Stone acquisition woke the team up. And then by year 3, it was all about the young kids, and that's what it needed to be. It needed to work on the system, and they finally were able to do it. But I said this, that the biggest dagger was losing Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. He was actually he was not just a forward, but he played defense. He never left Fleury's side when it came to the defensive side of the puck. And so when they got Alec Martinez, because Martinez was on my list of guys to get, because my list was going to be Shane Gutsberry from Philly, and then I would have loved to see Sammy Vatanen from New Jersey go to Vegas.
Yeah,
But once they got Alec Martinez and I saw the way he played much like Bellemare, what we needed. Stay with your goaltender, protect him at all costs, don't even give up on plays. That's the way it needed to be.
Jake, I'll get with you. We'll do a whole 2-hour show, man, on all hockey. We'll do a show about hockey. I could talk, dude. We'll talk 2 hours about it, because this is going to be very interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh, this
Because
is going to be fun.
when it starts back up, it's like there's no let's just ease back into this thing. It's going 0 to 100 in 3 seconds.
There's no excuses for any other team. Like, listen, I think Edmonton is going to get upsetted. And Toronto, you got a lot to prove. You paid forwards deep this year. There is no excuses.
Yep. But anyways, and you made a good point though. It's about the whole Vegas thing. Dude, sports unites people, regardless of.
It does.
Yep.
Sports unites people, and you know what? This country fucking
need it.
needs it. It
We
needs
need
it.
So
Because
the
it doesn't, all the petty shit, right? All the petty shit. You could be sitting next to the biggest liberal ever, and you are the hardest concern. Like, and you know what? Y'all are both wearing the same jersey, and at that moment, who gives a fuck about the political beliefs? You're high-fiving the dude because y'all are rooting for the same fucking team.
Exactly.
Sports unites people, and this country needs it. It needs something.
This is why I said what I said about baseball, because baseball disappointed me throughout this whole bickering thing, because none of you are going to make money if you're not out there on the field, let alone you've got fans in the stands. None of you are going to make money off of it. And that's the part that really pissed me off, was how do you even get a contract with Turner Sports if you don't have baseball going on? Something doesn't add up. And that was the part that really got me. And baseball, I'm old school. We played baseball through World Wars.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yep.
played baseball 2 weeks after 9/11 hit.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? We're in a divided country. We're going through a pandemic, and there is no baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it's, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, though, guys? It unites people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
In a big
sports
way.
front, when it comes back, is going to do like, we need something as a country to unite people and look forward to, and to be to be positive. And when the sports world comes back, it can't come back fast enough, because this country is hurting and it needs it.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
But with that being said, guys, from Jake, from Darian, from the other Coach K, and from myself, personally, fuck all your teams. But y'all are good people, and we out of here, guys. Y'all have a good night. It's midnight, and my fat ass is tired. We out. Peace.
Gig 'em.